Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. Two more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That old workflow had to go. Now it's simple, fast, and clean. All inside one single screen. Desktop set, I press and play. Build my audience every day. From my voice to what they see. This is how it's meant to be. 10 subscribers, you're in the game. 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast streams are coming through. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Whoa. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create any content you want, any day or night. And look, we're chatting about this. This is actually part of a 3-part series on SUBSTACK Studio. Someone's got to go first. Someone's got to try it. So we've been mucking around with it, trying it, seeing, pushing all the buttons. And this is part 3. And we're going to talk about going deeper. There's 2 things I want to talk about today. One is I want to talk about all the cool features that SUBSTACK Studio can do. And there's quite a few. But I also want to acknowledge the things that it can't yet do. And we're going to talk a little bit about the other alternatives. And going deeper in this context means talking about alternatives. School, for instance, is a very good alternative to SUBSTACK.
That was a very nice graphic. Uh-oh, what happened? Keith, are you still there? What happened? This is Keith's show, so I don't really want to talk during it when he's not here. He's rebooting and getting back on, and said we'll talk about the great tech experiment that is going on in live real time right now. So we will wait for Keith to come back.
Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. Two more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That subscribers. You're in the game. 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast dreams are coming through. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. Whoa. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the SUBSTACK Studio Spotlight.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? That only makes sense when you're live. Jessica, we had a few technical problems, but
Yes, we did.
here we are again. And I actually think it proves the point of what we're actually talking about today. I'm going to flip it and run with it. This is part 2. We started about 10 minutes ago and it just went dead. And I've lost the Substack feed, but it's still working on YouTube and LinkedIn. So this goes to show that you do need to have a sort of a multimodal approach, because imagine if this was just Substack and then we lost it, then that's it. It's
Right.
gone. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Substack Studio, what it can do, what it can't do, what are the alternatives, what are some of the things that we can do in addition to Substack Studio. This is not a lost cause. We saved it. We got it back.
We did.
And that is a skill that you can learn. You know,
Yes.
and why don't we start with your experiences of Substack Studio or Substack live streaming? You've had a very similar experience to me on this, so this is not uncommon, isn't it?
I did, because it was my first time trying it, and it was Carol and I, and actually I just posted today another snippet from that, which I ended up writing an article, and we can talk about how we multi-purpose our content later too. But for that conversation, we were planning on going live because neither of us have ever gone live on our own. We've come on your show, but we haven't gone live on our own. So we're like, you know what, let's try. And I got in, I'm live, but it wasn't working. I couldn't bring Carol in as a co-host, even though I had it prepped ahead of time to have her as the co-host, and even got the promotional little things, the little pictures they send you that were like Jessica and Carol. So I was under the impression I'd done everything right, and we hadn't. So what we did was we transitioned over to StreamYard, because I have an account there. You have an account at Restream, which is a similar product. And I have it for school, for doing videos for school if I need to do those. I was like, well, let's just jump on there and we'll record, and then we'll just post it without editing. So it's not live, so we can't have interaction, which having a chat feature would be fun. But, you know, we got to try, and we kind of made, you know, lemonades out of lemon.
Yeah, I love this discussion because we were chatting yesterday about Wi-Fi and wireless. And, you know, when you use the word of tech, and it is pretty exciting, you've got to have a little bit of a thick skin. You've got to be able to sort of think on the fly, because sometimes things don't work. And what's happened today, just in case you're watching the replay, we started the show, we played the song, we got it started, and then it went dead. And there was a bit of a panic.
Oh, I can't wait for you to hear when it went dead, because I'm there going, hello? Hello? Should I be talking?
But there was no one there to talk to.
And then I'm like texting you going, it's your show. Like, I'm not going to just be like, hey, now it's the Jessica Upton show. Let me take it up. It's your show. So I'm like, I want to be respectful. And so I was like, I'm muting. But then if people are on, I want them to know we're dealing with this. Just text Keith. He's going to be restarting soon, you know.
You know, I've got a couple of stories about this. I've been doing this since 2006. And and there's 100 stories to share, but one story we had, I don't know if you've ever heard of an organization called BNI, Business Networking International. You may not have heard of them, but yeah, have you heard of that idea?
No, but you know how much I know a lot about education and very little about business.
Yeah, so this one cool
Yeah.
dude, Ivan Meisner, thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could set up, it's very good, like, because there's one in every suburb. Wouldn't it be cool if we could set up a little networking group in every suburb in the world where there's an electrician and a plumber and an accountant and a real estate agent, and it's called Business Networking International, right? You get together once a week at the local hotel or local cafe and you chat and you go, what do you do? Well, I'm a plumber. All right, well, now that I know you're a plumber, I'll help you get clients. And if I'm a real estate agent, so if you help, whenever you go to someone's house and they want to sell, send them to me. And whenever I go to someone's house and their toilet doesn't work, I'll send them to you. And it's called Business Networking International. Big company, and it's like there's one. I think there's 1,700, maybe 17,000 chapters.
It makes perfect sense.
Yep.
It makes perfect sense.
Anyway, so this guy wrote a book called The Power of Networking or something. Anyway, so very, 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 very big honor. He came on our show.
Oh, wow.
And like it's like famous, probably the world's most famous networker. And this is really funny. And what we did was we took we got the Australian national president of BNI and the Victorian president of BNI to come on our show and welcome Ivan, which would have been a good honor for them, and just to smooth the waters. And he was talking about his book.
Okay.
Right? Now that's setting the tone, right?
Uh-huh.
So my co-host ran the show and I was the co-host, and she dropped out. And then I dropped out.
Oh.
And then so the president of BNI and the Victorian president were sitting there going, hello, Ivan. I'm not actually sure what to do, but let's have a chat. And let's just trust that Anne-Marie and Keith are going to get back in. It took us 6 minutes to get back in. And these guys were having a good old chat.
That's fair. I think if somebody else was in the room, I probably would have started a conversation. But me being by myself, I'm like, let's see, should I pick up a book and start a reading?
Yeah, the poetry of sound. And that is possibly one of the reasons why people are a little bit reluctant to start.
I think so.
But this is what happens. If that had have happened and nothing would have worked, we could have just deleted everything and you and I would have been the only people in the world to know.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have just gone on with our day and thought, that was funny. That's a story to tell, but no one's going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And now what's going to happen? And we already lost the Substack version. So that's gone. But the YouTube version is there. I can't wait to go back and have a look at the replay this one time. Then I'll override it because I think you can do that. I think YouTube allows you to start the show when you want to. Like you can fast forward through all the horrible bits. But it's a good case in point because my most famous live streaming story. I've heard of BNI. See, look. People on LinkedIn are listening to us. Hello.
I see that. I just opened the chat too.
I've heard of BNI. What a great story. Do you want to come on the show and tell us about that? You're in Houston. You're sort of in the same time zone. They're a slightly different time zone in Texas, aren't they, Jessica?
Yes. I think they are Central Time.
An hour ahead of you, yeah?
About 2 hours, not 3. Like the East Coast is 3.
Yeah. So look what happened. We're making lemonade out of lemons. I haven't chatted to Nikki. I don't think I've chatted to Nikki for. Well, look, I've got a message here from July 2025. Right. So there's a good chance to chat, have a story, meet a new friend.
Yeah.
If you'd love to join us, Nikki, we're happy to have you. We can have up to 10 people on the call, and this is exactly why I do live streaming. Like this is going to be a story to tell now, Jessica. We're going to flip this I might see if I can find Ivan Meisner so he can tell that story. But he probably not home, you know.
That
But
would be so cool. No, Keith, that would be so amazing because it sounds like over your lifetime, like I could flip this and start interviewing you. Like you have some really interesting stories.
yeah, there's a concept because I went to radio school, right? So, I left school in year 11
Uh-huh.
after being forced to read Shakespeare in front of the class. And I thought, look, this is not me. I just don't want to do this. I'm just not. Oh, okay, that's very interesting. And greetings, jump in if you want to talk. Nasis, Nikki, I think is her nickname. But I went to radio school, so
Mhm.
in radio school, one of the things that they know for sure is that sometimes the tech doesn't work. So a very big part of radio school is this thing called ad-libbing. So there's a group of us, 20 people, and the boss would throw to Keith, 1 minute on giraffes, go. What says just go. Just you got 60 seconds. The whole radio station has died. You got to wing it for 60 seconds. The clock starts now. Giraffes. Well, okay, giraffes. They're long neck, funky people. They live in Africa. Orange and brown, long legs. And look, sorry about that, but with the text just gone down, and I've been just tasked with this idea of talking about giraffes for 60 seconds. That's how I go. Someone's underneath me working on the panel. We'll be back soon. But and this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the time, this is a real story. When Anne-Marie and we did this show for 2 years, every Monday for 2 years. They're still there. We had listeners in 126 countries. I'm so proud.
126 countries. That's amazing.
People would ring in from England going, mate, it's 3 a.m. here. I know it's a weird time, but I love your show. I get up every day for your show.
Oh my God,
And
that's amazing.
Amazing. I listen to your show while I'm walking the dog. And hello from Azerbaijan, and no one in my town's talking about this. So what happened once was Anne-Marie, who ran the show, she's in Melbourne too, but in a different suburb. She was running the show and my power just went off, like the whole town, like the whole house. And all I had was my mobile, right? And I had to ring into the show blind. And I just basically, because we had a panel, we had a dashboard, and I had to just make it up. And she goes, Keith, I'll wing it. So we got a person calling in from Toronto. Hello, how you doing? What's your name? What are you thinking? Are you there, Keith? You want to jump in? And I had to do the whole show with nothing. Like 10 minutes before the show, the whole house just went dead. Power went off. And so, of course, that's very scary, but it's a story to tell.
So what did you do?
Well, luckily, Anne-Marie was running the show and she lives in a different suburb. So there was only a very local blackout. So she sort of carried the load. But normally what we'd do is I'd be moving the pictures around and going, hey, you can listen to us on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com, Keith Keller TV. Normally that's what I do. But
so you kind of like cycle through like almost a version of advertisements.
No. The show was called Career
or
Success
Information.
We had, but the thing that's very interesting about this tech, and this is why America loves it. You now know that I'm a real person. There's no way in the world AI can fake ad-libbing. I'm just making this shit up. I'm just here right now making this up.
Yes.
And that is incredibly vulnerable, but it's also very compelling. That I'm real. This is me. And that might not be of interest to you, but if it is, that you can trust that I'm a real person.
Right.
And I think in the age of AI, this is probably even more important than ever. Because we had this chat during the, I think we mentioned this to you, this idea called pitch slapping.
Yes.
And so this guy in India has decided, I reckon I can make a bit of money making AI videos. So why don't I just charge $10 for 30 seconds and I'll just scour the world for suckers willing to pay me. And what he does, and people like this do, is they just hound you. They don't get to know you. They don't even know who you are. You're just a cash book. You're just a check account to them. You're just a bank card. You're just a money source, right? And if you want to buy their things, they are friendly, and if you don't, then they don't want to talk to you, right? And
Well,
so
and sometimes they even make you feel bad, like, well, you just don't understand how much you need me.
yeah,
And it's like, no, I actually don't have any interest. Thank you very much.
yeah. And so, Nikki, please join us if you like. I'd love to hear your experience of BNI. Personally, between you and me, and I hope Owen Meisen is not listening, I personally don't agree with BNI, because BNI works on the principle that if you are committed to BNI, you have to go every week. And if you don't go, you have to get a letter from your mum. Like, this is the truth. You pay $600, and your commitment is that you go every week to the breakfast, which means you pay for breakfast, and you smooze with all the people in your suburb. Hey, there's the real estate agent. I know someone selling a house. I'll direct them to him. There's a plumber over there. I know someone who's got a leaky toilet. I'll direct him to him. But what if you're busy? What if you want to sleep in? What if you don't want to go networking every week? Well, you need a letter. You get 3 a week. You get 3 a year, 3. And if you don't go, you have to send someone in your place. And if you get more than 3, they kick you out. And I'm thinking, look, I don't want that type of networking pressure. I mean, I want to chat when I'm chatting, and I want to be inspired where I'm inspired, and I want to go away for the weekend sometimes.
Well, and I think that there are people who it comes more naturally for, and having maybe other people having that structure is helpful. Because I agree with you. Like, when I connect with somebody, it's not on somebody else's schedule.
Yeah.
It's because it's an authentic connection, because it's usually mutually beneficial.
It does suit some people. And I personally don't like it because of the rigor of having.
I think I can see both sides. I don't think it would be for me, but I think I can see where some people would benefit from it.
But in regards to ad-libbing, I want to tell this very, very poignant, gut-wrenching story. And we can go. I've got whole songs about this. But
oh no,
in January 2024, a mate of mine, a little bit like what we're doing here, a mate of mine in Melbourne said, "Look, mate, you're pretty good at this. Can you interview me 4 weeks in a row, and we'll do a series, and we'll promote it, and we'll get really good." And it was good. It was really good. Had 300 people signed up to come.
Oh, wow.
300. And we got there, and here he is, and I'm interviewing him because he didn't want to push the buttons. He wanted me to push the buttons so that I could make him sound good, because he didn't want to be fumbling around while he's trying to explain what he's talking about. He's pretty clever. So I said, "Mate, how you doing? What's going on there?" And then I get a message from LinkedIn. Halfway through the show, there's 300 people on the call. "You've been banned for 4 days. We think you're a robot, and there's evidence that you've been using some software to promote your show, and that's not allowed. So we have banned you from this point forward until next Friday." And this is halfway through the show.
Oh my goodness!
And the guy's thinking, "Well, I don't know what happened to Keith, but he's not there. And here I am. And I got to be honest, I feel a bit stupid. And I didn't even know what buttons to push. And I hope you're enjoying the show. And I better give Keith a call. I don't know where he is." And he's left hanging there. He's just hanging in the air. And I felt so embarrassed for him and so angry.
Well, and when you're not ready to handle the tech for something like that, and you're already nervous about doing a presentation, it's hard. It's really hard. I don't think anybody that's easy for. I think it's probably easier for you, Keith, because you have the experience of those type of stories. You've lived through it many times, so you kind of have a little easier time with it. But most people, I think that's exactly why they don't want to go live. What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, especially if you promoted it. Hello. Oh wow, I don't even. How would I pronounce this name? Do you think, Jessica?
I would stick just with blessing.
Welcome. If we're connected, you're very welcome to join us. I'll see if I can find you.
And we would love to hear how to actually say your name, because you are correct. I don't even want to try.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I can guess where the person's from. I might guess South America, maybe Africa. I don't know. Please, I'll try and find you on LinkedIn if we're connected. We must be connected on LinkedIn because you're coming on my show. Otherwise, how would you find it? I guess unless she's connected to you. But I'll try and find that. So what we're doing here is we've taken a bit of a tangent because the tech sort of forced us into a corner. And for the first 10 minutes, which you'll never get to see because we're going to delete it, there was a lot of confusion. There was just so much confusion. Narcissus, Nikki's joining. How cool. Now, this is why I do live streaming, Jessica. Look at what happened. This could have been a disaster, but now Nikki's calling in from Houston on the fly. Like, where can you see this done? This is a miracle. This is a magical experience. Hello, Nikki. Can I call you Nikki, or how do you pronounce your name?
First of all, hello and greetings, and it is Narcisse, but you can definitely call me Nikki. That is totally fine, Keith.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard the funky bit, but do you live stream or do you use StreamYard? We're talking about StreamYard, but you've come in via LinkedIn. Tell us what you do and what's your experience with the whole online world.
It's kind of interesting, to say the least. But no, I do not do any live streaming at this time. I'm actually preparing myself to do that because I should. So I'm getting ready to start on some live events.
Don't beat yourself up. It's work, and I'm pretty excited that we actually. Excited is not the right word, but I'm pretty proud that we saved it. Like we could have just dumped it. I could have went to the beach. But we saved it. Whatever happens from this point forward is a win because we could have lost it.
For sure.
But what I wanted to say, Nikki, is there's a very cool site called School. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Have you heard of School?
I have heard of School. I have not looked into it really, but I have heard of it.
Yeah. So what we're doing here and why I do these shows, and this is actually a very good example of what I do. This show is called SUBSTACK Studio Going Deeper, because SUBSTACK Studio is okay, but it's not awesome. And there are better options. But unless you have endless time and endless money, you got to try everything, right? So that's my job. My job is to try things and report back. So I've tried SUBSTACK Studio. I'm not, and today has probably locked that in. I'm not overly fond of it. It's okay, but it's a bit limiting. And I'm going to call you blessings. I'm going to send you now a link. But School is a site that allows unlimited people to join on stage. I'll send you a link to this, and it's a site that's not very expensive, and it's not free though, and it allows you to have virtually unlimited conversations. Actually, I'll just connect with you first. I'm going to call you Blessings. It is Blessings. I think Blessing is actually her name.
Yes, I think it is.
So could you accept that for me, Blessing? She's in Abuja, which is in Nigeria. Now, can you believe this? Let's just play out what's happening here. Yeah. A guy in Melbourne, Australia, is in the back of his house doing a radio show with a person in Washington State and Houston, Texas, and is being listened to in Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, and Nigeria.
Yeah, that's very good.
Isn't that just the coolest thing?
Yeah,
it really is.
That is, I mean, that is the awesomeness of technology.
Yeah. So look, please, 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 please don't be embarrassed if you don't yet do live streaming, because it is a lot.
Yeah.
Are you on Substack Blessing? In order for me to send you a link, we have to be connected. I've sent you an invitation to connect, but I can't send you the link unless we are connected. So please connect with me, and then I'll send you the link. And that's okay, because what happened yesterday, and I don't know if you were on that call, Jessica, when the sex therapist called, but
No, but
you know,
I have heard that. I've heard that story. I love it.
so Americo has this live streaming. A friend of ours, Americo, has this very cool live streaming site on school. And I said to Americo, look, bring in some of your buddies. Look, bring them in. I mean, the more the merrier. And this person called in, and I didn't know who she was. And I said, hello, what's your name and what do you do? Oh, hello, my name is Kathy. I'm a friend of Americo, and I'm a sex therapist. I teach couples to have more sex. I said, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Luckily for me, she was on camera and she had a very good microphone. And I said, well, look, what technology do you use to do your shows? Let's not talk about your job, but how you get the word out about what you do.
It's an excellent pivot.
And what a great save.
Excellent
Oh,
pivot.
come on. What a great save. And then she was very happy to talk about that. So Blessing is on Substack, and Lachelle is listening in from Atlanta. This is a very good example of what's possible when we get it working. I might bring a Mike in here. I don't know if you heard what happened, Mike, but we completely lost the signal. And we lost the Substack version, and I was going to give it up, but we kept it going, and here we are. Probably a good example why people don't live stream. Just the sheer fear of looking stupid. I mean, bloody hell, it was hard work, wasn't it, Jessica?
Oh my goodness, I had no idea what to do.
But
And it was clear. And it was clear.
You were on YouTube though, Keith. At least I found you on YouTube.
That's right. So I don't know if you've seen the first 10 minutes, but the show only went like 1 minute, and then I lost the signal. I had to reboot, and for about 10 minutes, it was just a blank screen. But we got it back. So I'm gonna run the room. Jason is calling in too. You didn't get much of a chance to talk yesterday, Jason. What's your take? Jason has amazing stories. Have you ever had that moment where the tech just failed, and how did you cope?
Yeah, well, hello everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing well.
Hello.
Tech fails all the time. I live in outside of a city in Alberta, Canada, so we have Starlink, and it just takes the wrong cloud in the wrong spot, and we might lose internet signal. So you always have that in the back of your mind. I've had a few times where I've been interviewing a guest and our internet has died. But part of that is in the planning. So before I start an interview, I go through different scenarios that could happen, like if I lose signal or the guests lose signal, and then what we do if that happens. So at least when it does happen, there's a backup plan, right?
I love this, because one of the things that I love about what you've said is that you give your guests a list of things they can do to sound better, to get a stronger signal. And I'm guessing you've got a contingency plan if things go wrong. Yeah?
Yep, absolutely. Absolute worst case scenario, but I've had to do it, is I hotspot to my phone, which will have whatever, like 5G, right? Or 4G.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of limp through worst case scenario by doing it that way, because it's just audio. If it's just an audio interview, you don't need a lot of bandwidth, and that may be just enough to get through. And then I do tell the guests the same thing. If their house internet dies, they can potentially hotspot to their phone if that's something they're familiar with doing.
This is glorious. Glorious. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I went to radio school, and all this stuff was covered like in day one. Shit happens, and you've got to learn to ad lib. You just got to learn to make it up. And I got to be honest, even though it does sound scary, it's quite a thrill, like safety. And we talk about dopamine a lot on this show. The live thrill of knowing that there's someone listening in Nigeria, that someone's called in on the fly at 7:30 at night in Houston, Texas. You don't get that on a podcast. You don't get that on a pre-recorded show. What do you think, Jessica? I think we're really onto something here. I think we're really onto something with this idea of having the courage to go live. And
I think you're right. And it goes into the conversation we've had about how people really want authenticity right now.
Yeah.
Like the perfect package isn't necessary because we're not the perfect package, and it's okay. Yeah. And so having those conversations where it's like, you know what, Keith, you've been doing radio for decades. And like you said, shit still happens.
Yeah. And in a way, it gives me a chance to prove that I am real.
Yeah.
And that I actually know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I can hide behind the tech and go, hey, there's this new Mayono product. Sounds like a Joni Mitchell song. But I can hide behind all the tech. But at the end of the day, it's me speaking.
Yeah.
And that's very important, because it's got to come down to real people. Now, Blessing has just found me on Substack. She's coming in soon. So let's just pull apart what is happening here. A guy in Melbourne, Australia, is doing a random, somewhat imperfect radio show in the back of his house, and people in New Jersey, Houston, Washington State, Alberta, and Nigeria are calling in live on their devices. Like, what other product can you do this on?
Right.
And one of the things we've been talking about, Jason, is the idea that Substack Studio is something that Substack has invented recently for all those people that are exactly fearful of what's just happened here. With Substack Studio, you can pre-record, and it takes away all that fear and arguably all the flavor of doing shows. But it's very limited. So from your experience, I would love to know what Circle does, for instance, in this scenario. Does it have a group chat feature where you can do videos for the community, or do your community mostly consume your content? They don't necessarily want to talk to you. Big question. I know I might rephrase it, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I don't know what was wrong with the button. Apologies, Keith. Thanks for the question. I did hear it. Yeah, I guess what the cool thing that I like about Circle, but a lot of the online communities have, is they have different ways that you can do live events. And you can do it as an audio event if everybody turns their camera off, exactly like what we're doing right now. So every Sunday with our paid community, we just call it Paw Pack Chat. That's the name of our community, the Paw Pack, because we're dogs and cats and pets, yeah. Right? So the community, the people who want to come, they can come exactly like this, right? But those people support us on a monthly basis. So to get access to Chris and I, my wife and I, that's one of the perks. You can also do a live stream where you are like the main boss, and then people just kind of listen in the audience, and you can bring up select speakers. That may be more similar to like what this is, Keith, because you sent us the Restream link. You can record stuff like a seminar in Circle, and then you can also record lessons for courses. So we partnered with a dog trainer. She's amazing. She's a double amputee, and she trains service dogs. She's got two Rottweiler service dogs. So we partnered with her, and we built a dog training course, like for beginners that people could take, and that's all built within Circle and hosted there. And then what's cool is when the first year of the course, you can also within that course have live events that only people who are paying for the course have
Bingo.
access to.
This
Yeah,
is
so
actually the essence of what I want to talk about today. The Substack Studio you can only have 3 people on the call. Like, it's really limited for the things that we do. It might be all right if you're just interviewing one person and sending it out. That's possibly what it's designed for. But Restream allows for up to 10 people. I think StreamYard the same, isn't it, Jessica? 10 people. You may not know.
I at least 10 people, I know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 people, and that's okay. That's quite a good number. But what if you get a really big audience? What if you're really thumping it? Imagine that. So is there a limit to the amount of people that you can have on a Circle community? Jason,
in an event like this where multiple people can speak, there is a limit of who can be on stage. It's called a room. And I think you can have up to 25 people with audio video chat. Kind of like a massive Zoom call, right? We did this is a few years ago, 3 years ago. We hosted a book launch for a lady. She has an account called the Golden Ratio. They have a bunch of golden retrievers and they rescue them. So she had a book, and I interviewed her, and I made that a live event, and we had hundreds of people come. But I used the live stream portion, so it was just me and this author, Dr. Jen Golbeck, and then people filed in listening, kind of like in the audience below, and they could type up questions. So that's the difference. There's rooms and live streams. One is more intimate, and one is more like a kind of like a show where there's only a few people who are spotlighted.
Yeah. And I think the point here is that that's what people are paying for. That's why they would be part of the community. They like the intimacy. They're like with these shows that go live on Substack and live on YouTube and live on LinkedIn and several other places. It's sort of out there on the internet, and people can consume it, but they can't really take part unless they're on stage, right? And Restream is limited to 10 people for that. But I'm really interested in the idea that I think we're taking this up a notch now because people want to be part of something bigger. Mm-hmm. This sort of actually picks up with what you're talking about, Mike. Do you see yourself using Circle or School and building a community, or do you not want to be the community builder? You'd rather be part of a community. What are you thinking?
Both. I think it really depends on what the subject is. Meaning, and we talked about this a little last night, is I would be very interested in actually starting and potentially running, or maybe with help, a poetry-based community. What form that takes, I have to look at Circle. I'm familiar with School. I'm familiar with Discord. I really have to understand mostly Circle's capabilities, because one of the things I think is important is the ability to get up virtually. Because as you say, Keith, it is astounding that we can meet virtually from all over the globe, including Lachelle, someone from down under, shall remain nameless, and folks from Nigeria. It's incredible to me. I mean, when we think about that, and Jason, it's incredible that we can do that. And I think the other thing is the ability to, like one of the things that's important to me was you don't want to sort of have access the whole internet is just trampling in on your circle in poetry circles, because it can be pretty vulnerable.
Ah,
You
yes,
know,
yes, yes.
so I would want to know that that platform has some mechanisms to control. I mean, you hit it on the head though, Keith, when you said you run a danger when you're running lives, and you, to a certain degree, you run the danger of doing it in these protected circles, but then you need the ability to control that whatever that technical channel is, whether it's Zoom or whatever. Zoom ran into that problem, Keith. Zoom exploded in growth so fast they didn't really think about, unfortunately, about people. I think they call it Zoom bombing or something like that, where they would just come and disrupt, in some cases, very large gatherings.
Yeah,
So
we had that in the organization that I work for, and it was very disturbing.
So, I mean, the biggest Zoom call I've been on was, I think, 800 to 900 people, and we did have a few wayward individuals come and disrupt that. So, unfortunately, you have to figure out how to deal with that. And usually, Keith, I know you don't want a second in command, but and you probably don't need one right now. But I would say anyone that is attempting anything at scale is going to have to think about, if it's a live type of situation, unfortunately, um, or you strictly control access to that community. I mean, you can do it both ways, but you can always have someone slip in that you vetted or you didn't vet well enough, and that becomes disruptive. So,
Yeah, well, I'm very interested in this because, and let me just play this out in the context of what we're talking about. Substack Studio only allows 3 people. For me, this is a completely useless piece of technology. Completely useless. Because look at what we're doing here. We've got 8 people here, actually 7, and the really cool image. We've got people from Atlanta, Washington State, Alberta, New Jersey, Houston, Texas, and Nigeria. Right? And we can have up to 10 people on this call in this format. This, I think, will be enough for me for probably the conceivable future, but it has interested me that what happens if I just keep growing at this rate and 10 becomes 20? Well, Circle can have 25. School can have unlimited. There's a fee for that, but it probably would be worth it. So I would love to run the room on how other people are using this tech. Lachelle, do you want to jump in here and tell us, are you part of any circles or schools or Mighty Networks or Discord groups? And have you got any thoughts on how we can use this technology?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I feel like I have been gone for so long. My kids are back in school. Believe it or not, we're in the week 3. I think it really depends on what your goal or intent is. I really favor small communities. Even though I have 15 children of my own, it's crazy. But I find that, when I think back to even me getting on Substack, it was a result of being on your live stream, and we had someone come on in real time, was talking about her journey. I was able to upload my podcast during the time that we were on the show in real time. And I don't know if we have larger groups, if that I don't know that action would have taken place.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have a lot of people that are on stage, and, depending on the topic, it just can be very cumbersome with even giving people time to share, waiting to respond. So I think it just depends on what your intention is, because I could see a positive or a negative either way. But for
I,
myself, I prefer smaller groups
I
because I
actually
think you,
really,
you're accountable.
I actually really like what you've said there. My gut feeling, just personally, is that probably 10 is about right. and 6 is fine, and 2 is even good. But once you get past 10, and I'd be very interested to know how people are doing it if they're big groups. But once you get past 10, I'm thinking it must be difficult to give everyone a turn if you got 26 people on the stage. I mean, how can you give everyone a turn? I mean, people are going to miss out. So, and it'd be very, very, very difficult to moderate. Do you have some thoughts on that, Jessica? Have you ever been to, say, for instance, Shannon's class? I know she has 200 members in her community. Have you ever been to any of her Zoom calls?
I haven't. And I messaged her last night, and I should do that. I should set aside some time to see how she does it. I do find the idea of, I've always found facilitation very interesting. And you can tell when people have thought about it and when they haven't thought about it. And it's a good conversation to have before you decide whether or not to go big or to stay small in terms of the groups. You know, what would your style of facilitation be? Because I agree with Lachelle on the fact that if you have so many people that you never really get a chance to share or feel like you're a part of the conversation, those people will slowly fall off and just stop participating.
Yeah, because they don't feel heard. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're part of the team. It's very much a part of my story that I want everyone to feel like they can be part of it. Blessing, I think you're the first Nigerian we've had on the call. I'm going to play a little sound. Hello, welcome. We love you. Welcome from down under. Jump in and tell us what you're doing. Do you do live streams, and what's life like for you in Nigeria? Tell us about that. Can we hear you there? I think you're still on mute, but I'd be very interested to hear what you're thinking. I'm very interested to hear what tech you're using to get into the call at all. I'll give you a couple of minutes to work out where the buttons are. I'm just going to ramble. This is what we call ad-libbing. This is a very good example of when I could jump into a giraffe conversation. I think they have giraffes in Nigeria.
I think you lost her.
It's also known as talking to the rooster, Keith.
Talking to the rooster.
It's a skill. It's a skill. You have it. And that's another reason people are afraid of live is many of us haven't learned that yet.
Keith is very nimble. Keith is very nimble. And I think, I don't know how much of that comes from his radio experience. But I also find him to be a consummate interviewer when he takes that tact. When he has, even one or two people where he can spend a little more time deep diving with those people. I find he's a consummate interviewer as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. It's part of what keeps me young. As you may know, you probably don't, but I'm retired now, and so I've been doing this since 2004. I've been working since 1984, and I thought, you know what? I think I've had enough. I'm going to just do what I like. I'm just going to do this all day because I love doing it. I've never been to Nigeria. I don't think I know any Nigerians. So now I'm meeting for maybe the first time someone from Nigeria. That's exciting to me. I don't know much about that. Do you want to have a go at having a chat, Blessing? Is your mic working? I'm joining on my laptop and we'll be back shortly. So what are you thinking? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I'm going to let that sit, permeate. I know it feels weird. We could do a whole masterclass on this, Jessica. Mm-hmm. This moment right here feels very odd, doesn't it? It's quiet. It's silent. It's sort of a little bit distressing. But
I can relate it to in teaching. We call it wait time.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes if you just fill the gaps, you're not giving the kids a chance to really process what they're going to say before they say it.
Yeah. And have you ever been in a room where someone just talks all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And you think, look, can you just give me a chance? I actually want to answer that question, but you've sort of jumped in and answered it for me. You didn't give me that 30 seconds thinking time to get my thoughts together.
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
that's where the moderator mindset, Keith, which again I think you do okay at, is you do want to monitor bandwidth, meaning, if someone's going on too long. That's a challenge, particularly Keith, as you probably are aware. I've tried to manage larger Discord channels,
mm,
and that gets to be, well, I mean, typically you have to have some sort of rules, and or you have moderators to assist, because even well-meaning people, because of tech, because of lag, because of sound issues, or whatever, can step on each other a little bit. I can't see you, so I can't necessarily see when you're getting ready to talk. So there's some grace and some etiquette that's involved. But even then, once that scales up, that can be difficult as well.
yeah, I think I'm starting to realize that maybe 10 is enough. And I haven't yet had a situation where I've had 10 on the call and had to kick someone off. On the free version, which only has 6 people, I have had to do that. And on the Substack version, which only has 3 people, well, they'll be doing that all the time, which is why I'm not using that. But it actually is a perfect discussion, because we're talking about Substack Studio going deeper. And maybe going deeper means going somewhere else. What I might go throw to Nikki. Do you have any experience of these types of texts? I'd love to hear what you're doing. What you use? Are you a writer? Are you a recruiter? What do you do?
What do I do? Interesting question. I do a lot. um, I write. I'm a published author, and I love telling stories. But also, I do have some experience with panel discussions, primarily on YouTube
Yep.
and some here on the LinkedIn Lives. And what I have discovered, most of my experience has been on YouTube. What I've discovered is the more panelists you have on the channel, the more panelists that you have in the discussion. Depending on how much time you have on a discussion and how freely or how loosely you allow people to speak, really determines the quality of the stream. And that's going to be on any platform.
Wow, that's a great insight. More is not better, is it?
More is only better if it's a wild conversation, not anything you really want people to grab nuggets from. And so what people do on YouTube is on YouTube, people are able to have streams for hours, 24 hours. So because they're able to stream for almost 24 hours, they will have ongoing panelists for almost that entire time.
You're
But they will,
talking about Twitter Spaces, where they just keep going for 24 hours.
yes.
Yeah.
And what happens is they just continue to shift different conversations. And then they also allow different people to come on, and they just transfer authority, to someone else so that it can continue to go. Now, the thing with that is you can lose quality. If you're trying to work for the algorithm, you can lose quality because it's very hard to keep people's attention if they're coming back for a replay and they don't know where to start, where to end. Something catch their interest in the beginning, but then you lose them, shortly thereafter. So there is a downfall to everything. I think the key thing is to identify your purpose. Just like anything else that we're doing, you identify the purpose of your streaming.
Let's pick up on this. This is great. I think Lachelle's having some issues there, so we'll keep going. I want to talk about.
I'm here now. I can hear you.
You're back. Okay. Did you hear what Nikki?
Hello, everyone.
This was very, very good, Nikki. What you just said there was so good. I'm gonna throw to a graphic about purpose and what we call funnels. So I'll go first. What I do is I invite 1,000 people a week to my show. 100 of them say, "Yeah, I'll come." 10 of them actually come. Right? Pisses me off a bit, but that's just the ratio. You know what's going on. You know that people are busy and they say they want to come and they never do. So I work this ratio every week. I invite 1,000 people. 100 people will say they'll come, and 10 people actually come. And the purpose, and this is why it works well for me, the purpose for me is to get 10 people. That's a win. But I have to invite 1,000 people in order to achieve that. But now that I know that, I'm willing to invite 1,000 people, which doesn't take very long. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's very important, isn't it, Nikki, that you've got a purpose. More is not better. Having 20 people on stage is not better than having 10 very active people, or even 3 very active people. I love what you've said there. That's so sort of so insightful. Would you agree, Lachelle?
Anything else?
Yeah, please. What are you thinking?
So another thing is considering the quality of everyone's contribution. You want to, depending upon your purpose, you want to have people that's going to actually have quality contributions versus just someone being a space holder and talking just to hear themselves talk.
Oh, that is so good. You know, that is the hardest part about moderating. This is actually the reason I stopped doing Twitter Spaces. This is the reason. Twitter Spaces, when they became X Spaces, are, for me, almost virtually impossible to moderate, because a lot of people just come on because they want to talk. They have actually no interest in what you're talking about. They just want to say what they want to say. And this is sort of what you're saying, isn't it, Nikki? That some people just love the sound of their own voice and they just talk for the sake of talking, don't they?
Yes. And then also you have detractors and disruptors.
Well, you've been doing this a while. Tell me about your understanding then. Let's get a bit of a masterclass going.
we can do that. I'd be more than glad to share some of that. I don't want to take up all the space because you have invited different people on the panel and they should all have time to share. I'm just sharing a few tidbits here and there, and I thank you for that.
Oh, no worries. You're very welcome to keep going if you want to, but Jessica, I think you had a bit of an aha moment there. Did you sense that maybe you're familiar with the disruptor?
Oh, I've had to do facilitations in my job for years. Starting as, if you think about as a middle school teacher, yes, there are definitely disruptors in that environment. And I was one of those kids. I was a disruptor. And then I work now with adults, and, I work in negotiations, and that's all about people's interactions and how they are positioning themselves and presenting themselves. And yeah, the people who take up all the time and the people who say a lot but don't say anything. It's interesting sometimes to just sit back and watch, and you learn a lot as a facilitator in that process.
Yeah, I think the reason I love doing this format the most is that in reality I don't have anything to say. I know that sounds a little bit self-effacing, but I'm not here to tell you what I know. Really, what I'm really here to do is to let everyone else speak, and in those moments, I learn. This is where I get my dopamine. I've learned something today. I'm enjoying the process. Sure, I know stuff. I can tell my stories, but I'm not here to tell my stories. I'm here to facilitate that there's 8 people in the room, or 7 people in the funky image. And Plessing is trying very, 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 very hard to get her Nigerian internet to work because she's lathering up at the mouth trying to get onto the call, right? So that's part of my job, is to give everyone a voice. And when you do that, we learn so much, so many perspectives, so much joy in the learning that far greater than the joy in the talking.
Hmm.
Because I know my story. I can tell. I walk around the house talking to myself. I can do that all day. That's not that interesting to me. But when people who I've never met tell their story, I'm getting a different perspective.
Yeah.
I'm getting some insights into that's a different way to view that problem, that challenge, that story, that lifestyle. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And it goes back to what we were talking about when we first met in April, how we have people from all over the globe, and we end up finding that we have more in common.
Yeah, it's
It-
bloody brilliant.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for making this space, Keith.
Well, aren't you proud like I am that we kept going?
Yeah, today for sure.
There was that bit of a nervousness in the belly. We could have given it up. We could have just
I
turned
really can't wait for you to hear me. Like, it's just, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I don't know much about radio, but I have heard that dead air is bad.
Yeah.
So, and that's what's going on right now. And
it was 10
but
minutes.
it's also your show.
It was 10 minutes. Like I might keep it up, just keep it up on I might keep it up live for a day just so that people can hear it. But I'm definitely going to edit it out.
Hello, everyone.
Jason, hello. Is that you, Blessing?
Yes, it's me. I'm so sorry. I was joining with my phone and it was really not allowing me to join, but I'm here now. Sorry for keeping you guys waiting. My name is Blessing Ijoma Ebujo.
I was writing.
Greetings, blessings.
Don't you love what we're doing here, Blessing? You're in
Yes,
Nigeria calling into a
yes,
radio style show in Australia. And
yes.
do you use Substack and LinkedIn for this reason? How do you use this technology that we're now using? What do you do?
Okay. I think I was introduced to Substack 4 months ago by a friend in Canada. Her name is Jacqueline. So she was like telling me that I can showcase what I do there and interact with others. So, but I've not been so active on Substack. I think I have only, is it 2 posts there? So, and I'm happy, a few followers. I'm happy to be here and I would like to explore more on Substack. But I am very versatile with LinkedIn and other applications. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok and other social media platforms. So maybe I would like one of you to coach me on how this works. I'm very new. I'm new here. Thank you.
This is what the community is for. We are here to help.
Okay.
Quite literally, that's what the community is for. We're absolutely here to help, and I'm very proud of that. Like, I'm very proud that that's what we do. And the reason I'm so inspired by this tech, is that I'm now sensing, in a very non-egotistical way, that maybe 10 isn't enough. Maybe the group is going to grow and I might need to grow with it. This is why I'm exploring these other technologies. At the moment, Restream, which is what I'm using, allows for up to 10 people, and I think that'll be enough. But we may move the show to School, which is a very cool site that allows for unlimited people on stage. And have you had much experience in going on shows? And have you been on a show before, or have you ever thought of running your own show? And what's your experience of being on these types of things?
Yes, I have my experience on going on shows. At least I know LinkedIn shows. When we were having audio show, I was so active then. But since LinkedIn started restricting it to video show, I don't know if I'm camera shy or what. Like I don't know what to say, but I think I've joined 2 shows, and in the future, I would like to host my own shows. Like, I would like to host shows, invite people, talk about what I do, talk about how I'm helping people because I'm also I have a little Workness Academy. Is a training institute where I train stay-at-home mom on virtual skills they can use to start earning remotely. And I'm also working from home. And so I would like to publicize that more and do other content, educate people on how to grow wealth. Thank you.
Like I love what you're doing there. You're in a, is there where you from a big town? Is it a biggish town or is it a little village?
Okay, I'm from Nigeria, and I'm currently living in Abuja, which is the
Abuja?
capital of Nigeria. Yes, Abuja. So it's not like it's where I'm staying now. It's not like it's a small village, It's Abuja town, not like it's a village. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so we are enlightened here. We have people that actually want to learn. We have people that want to grow. We have people that want to explore, people that want to travel, and a lot of stay-at-home mom that want to earn income,
Mm.
both
Well,
educated and non-educated. So, um,
well,
building my brand around. Yeah.
I've just looked up the population of Abuja. It's 2 million people. So
Yes.
I got to be honest, I'm a bit embarrassed. I didn't know that Abuja was the capital of Nigeria. Put up your hand if you knew that. Please tell me I'm not the only person in the world that didn't know that Abuja was the capital of Nigeria. I just learned something new.
I didn't know. I will
Thank
admit it to
you.
Keith.
So 2 million people. Melbourne has 6 million people, so I know what it's like to live in a big town. You've got a big ratio there, but I'm very excited to hear that you're working from home, so you can make a living remotely by using the internet,
Yes.
can't you? Now,
Yes.
Jessica, let's pick up on this. Let's
Mhm,
just hear the words. Blessing is in Abuja, Nigeria,
mhm.
which neither of us have been to. We didn't even know where it was.
Nope.
She's making a living from home, feeding her family using
Mhm,
her phone. Now, this is the future of learning of capitalism. It's the future of learning and production, and I just love it. I work from home. My wife works from home sometimes. I
mhm,
never go to the city. It's an hour away. We are changing the way we view the world of work. We're changing the way we feed our families. That we make income. Don't
mhm.
you think that's exciting?
Yeah, it is happening. Um, there are things that I still feel like I'm a little bit more traditional with, even though I am an extremely liberal person. Um, like I like reading books. I have not transitioned to only reading on a tablet. I still like reading books. I still like I write at them and I tag them and all that stuff. And I know you can do that electronically. I just don't like it. So I'm a part of that world as well. And one thing we need to understand is it's happening with or without us, the transition to electronic. So even though I'm not necessarily the most comfortable with it, like now I have transitioned over to, I don't know if you've heard of a Remarkable, which is a digital notepad. Um, where I can download PDFs and I can read, papers on the plane. I can do all of that stuff. So I'm slowly transitioning into that digital world, but it absolutely, Keith, you are right. This is the future. This is the future.
It's very relevant given that you're doing a leadership course
Mhm,
online from a
mhm,
university in a different state.
mhm.
It really feeds into what you're learning and what will become of that learning.
Yeah. Yeah, and these conversations that I've been having with you, Keith, really has opened my mind to an entirely different idea and some concepts. Like we just started with the fact that I never thought about sound quality. And I work from home and am constantly online. I have never even thought about a microphone because my laptop has one. Why would I? And it wasn't until I started learning it. And that's been your life, Keith. I mean, that's your expertise in understanding why those little differences, why those little changes make a big difference. And when we're moving into that world, where things are more online. And if you're going to be a guest on a show, having that is the audio is so important.
And I think what we picked up on yesterday, this is very important. Like in a world where you could spend $600 on a microphone, but not even I would do that. We chatted yesterday about a whole range of microphones that started $100.
Yep.
Now, if you want to, we got a lot of noise there. Blessing, are you moving around? You sort of, do you want to mute yourself there? Sorry. What I love about this show is that I'm helping people who want to move up the line, but don't necessarily want to spend $600 to buy the BMW version of a microphone when they're only just going to go on the occasional internet show. But for $100, you could sound really good and you could be the star of the show on just about any show on the planet. And so suddenly the cost of participation, I just made this phrase up, the cost of participation, there's a whole song in that, a whole book in that.
There's a song.
The cost of participation.
Oh, there's lots of books in this. There's lots of papers for sure.
The cost of participation has gone right down, you know, and we talked to Anne-Marie yesterday about Pygmalion, which, you know, came out in 1912, and it's about the idea that poor people didn't get really a fair go simply because they were poor. And that was their only sort of disadvantage. They had they weren't stupid. They just didn't have much money to spend. So now for $100, you can run your own show and have a global empire from your bedroom. Now that's very, very exciting.
And that's what we're going to be seeing is we're going to be seeing a kind of a leveling of accessibility to these platforms. And you know, the free versions might not be there yet, but there are low cost right now. And if there's low cost right now, you know, it's just tech is getting better and better and better at just an insane speed right now. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be where quality and content really do matter. And I do think that's also where that the artistry piece is going to end up floating back to the top as well.
Yeah, the cream always rises, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a chat about this idea about sort of the democratization of sort of learning and content. Substack is free. In every facet, it's free. But it's not actually it's not awesome.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's not superhero quality. It's pretty good, but it doesn't have all the features. So I've been doing a lot of research on other pieces of tech that have more features but are not free. And school is $9 a month. That's $9 you got to find, $9 American, which is about $20 Australian and Canadian. But that's an investment in more tech. I also have been having a lot of discussions about school versus media, Substack versus Medium. Now, I don't know anything about this, but did you ever use Medium, Jessica, or has anyone on the call ever used Medium? And can you explain what the differences are there for those that don't know?
I have not.
It's Substack without all the ability as a content hub. I'm not aware that you can push anything out of Medium. It was basically a writer's platform, Keith. Very similar to how Substack started out.
Ah, okay. And it's free too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they have something similar as far as like profit sharing. I only read stuff. I believe there was a pay version too, so you could do something very similar to Substack. But I was just reading, the free versions, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I haven't used it at all because I'm not a reader or a writer. I'll let it sit there for 30 seconds if anyone's got any comments. If not, we'll move on because it's not a major thought, but it's an alternative piece of an alternative way to get the word out. Substack in this context is far better in so many ways. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talking passionately about Medium, but I'm open to that. What I'd really like to do is I'd really like to pull this one apart: Substack versus School. So Substack Studio only has 3 people. School has unlimited. School is part of a raft of sites that allow you to go deeper. You love community, Mike. Have you thought of running your own school? It's only $9 a month. You could afford that.
I'm not convinced, Keith, yet. I have to look at other platforms. There are other platforms. There's one that starts with a J. It's not coming to me. There are other similar platforms. I don't know, and I would have to do like a comparison, because one of the things I do find compelling is that ability, like Americo has, is to create that sort of instant it what you were talking about, the instant show, uh, but then it doesn't have like peer to peer, what I call like peer to peer, or like a video call or a voice call. So I personally, Keith, I think I'm going to have to settle when I start building out my community. I'm going to have to settle with the use case, and if the use case, for instance, is where, which I could think about, is offering courses, then school would be on my radar. So it's going to really depend on what my use case is. Pure community, the way I envision it, at least initially, would probably rest in Discord. But that's really going to depend on what my needs are relative to course development.
And you think you'll get people to meet you there?
Yes.
Okay, let's start there. I want to give everyone a turn to give you a chance to really get the goss and what people actually think of Discord. It's a horrible site. I'm just going to say it. Don't expect me to join you there. I'm never using it again. But what do you think, Jason? Have you used Discord? Did you ever come to my shows on Discord? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I have dabbled with Discord. It's not for me, and it's not where our community is. When I used to have when our paid community used to be on Patreon. Patreon, I think, comes with some Discord connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I did set up a Discord, and it was a huge learning curve, a big steep learning curve to figure it out. And of all of our patrons, like 2 people made accounts. So like I think I kept doing it for a couple months, and I was like, okay, everybody, the 2 of you, we are shelving Discord. So it just wasn't something our community used. Though Discord is huge, very huge, with other niches. Just didn't work for us at all.
Yeah, I just
Jason, did you try the web version? I don't know if you're aware. There's a web interface to Discord.
Yes, that's what I used, but this was
Okay.
years ago. Yeah, and
Okay.
maybe it's gotten better, and I don't know what I'm talking about because, like, I have not touched Discord in probably 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
No, fair enough.
I think this is actually a very important part of the discussion. It's not really about me, the host. It's about the community. I had enormous, catastrophic issues with getting people to try Discord. They just would not. They just would not join. Even though I managed to get it working, and it is hard to use, I just could not get people to join. And I want to give you a very clear example. I started Discord as a result of that LinkedIn experiment, Jessica, in January 2024, when I was banned for 4 days in the middle of a show where 300 people were live on air. So horrified was I. That's the start of a song, isn't it? So horrified was I.
It's a ballad. It's a ballad.
I think it's a sort of a Gilbert and Sullivan sort of vibe. So horrified was I that LinkedIn and I, sort of a pantomime style. So
LinkedIn did deny.
LinkedIn did deny. That's right. So horrified would I that LinkedIn did deny that I went to LinkedIn.
It made me cry.
and I
Oh
wanted
In the
my
to,
middle of my
goodness.
show.
to go to Discord to try. So I tried Discord for 2 years, from just January 2024 to January 2026. I got in 2 years, I managed to scrape together 225 people that would agree to be on that platform. It was like pulling teeth, right? It was horrible, a horrible experience. Not for me, but for them. And but I joined Substack in September of 2025. I cracked 500 followers this week. 500 subscribers this week, 1,000 followers. Half the time, twice as many, which is a 4 times factor of success. Substack is easy, Discord is hard. But let's give everyone a turn. Nikki, have you ever used Discord, or have you ever used any community type sites in your history? What are your thoughts on that?
I've used Discord and I did not like it at all. For me, I found Discord to have less discretion than what I like to have in a community.
Yeah. I haven't heard. Mike is the only person I've heard talk passionately about it in the last 12 months. Jessica, do you have some thoughts on this? Do you want to confer with your...
Wait. Can I interrupt? Can you dive a little deeper into discretion, Nikki?
Sure. So, per my experience, Discord has been a perfect place for trolls when
Hmm.
unmonitored and unmanaged well. And many creators in that space, especially from YouTube streamers, do not manage that well. And so a lot of unnecessary, unethical, and very disparaging things happen in those communities.
Yeah, I've both managed and monitored and moderated, and I'm going to
Hmm.
agree with you in that if you do not take that on as the creator and as the community
Yes.
leader,
Yes.
then that but that's true of almost anything. We talked about spaces. Spaces can have monitors, and spaces can be done. I'm not a space guy. Let's just be clear. I didn't like it before or after X. So I've never been a space person. But I would say that it's almost a must. In fact, I think Discord actually says you must have rules. Just for clarity, I ran a 10,000 member forum, um, and we absolutely had. I actually had a monitor council that was around followed the sun. It was around the globe, in order to make sure that we didn't have trolling, or because one of my big things, particularly for the women, was that it was a safe place for them to share, because one of the main thrusts of the forum was trauma, specifically sexual trauma. So, we were very protective of all the members, but particularly the women. And we had situations where idiots came in and they were shown the door very quickly. That's the challenge, unfortunately, of being on the web and open, to unfortunately, the trolls that inhabit, in part anyway, the internet. So I would absolutely agree with you that you have to monitor and control these communities. That's usually issue of scale. As it becomes known, as it becomes more popular, you will attract bad influence as well, unfortunately.
You want to have some thoughts on that, Jessica? You've got a teenage son. I'm guessing he's on Discord, but
Oh
have you
yes, I
tried it
have.
yourself?
I
What
I
are you
I
thinking?
do. I do have opinions on this. Um, I think it's so tricky because my two boys are 19. He'll be, I might as well say he's 20. He turns 20 in like 2 weeks. And 21. So like during the pandemic, they were they were gaming with their friends online, and many times they would use Discord because that's what they would have these little groups. And when they had their own little private channel or whatever, it was great. Sometimes they would go out into different larger servers and larger conversations. And I agree that there's a lot of hateful people out there who target vulnerable populations, not just women. And I think it's almost impossible to control that in such a broad, because then, like, I went in recently just to say, hey, I wonder, I've had a account, and learning about a lot of this tech stuff, I thought, oh, I'll check some of these tech channels. And I soon found out it's just not, it's not my group. It's not my scene. Like, I found a few people, and actually one of them is now over on Substack because she's much more of a writer as well. And I just wasn't getting what I wanted from it. And my kids are very, it can be harmful. It can be harmful at times.
It's important that we have this discussion. Have you got some experiences, Lachelle? You've got 16 kids, did you say 15 kids? Some of them would have been using it. It's very much a teen thing, or young 20s. That's where the majority are, or maybe 30s, but certainly not men in their 50s, although there are some, obviously. Do you have much experience with Discord, Lachelle?
Yes, I've actually been on the platform. We had a community for virtual, when we were doing a virtual situation with, I can't even think of it, when you have in these, not avatars, but NFTs and all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't my thing. The name alone, I just can't get with Discord. I feel like I have enough
Right.
chaos and words matter, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know.
words do matter.
It just never really was a flow for me. I will agree the whole aspect where I feel like it's just not monitored. It's a free for all over there. You could have young kids on, and they are cross pollinating communities because of a gaming system, but just the language and the attitudes and tones, I just do not think it's a good environment. And so for me, I just think it's too unfiltered, so about it.
Yeah, I wanted to play that out because I knew from my experience for 2 years that a lot of people hate it, like really actively hate it. But that's okay. It's a site that is free, and it's got some good features. But I'm never using it again, never. And do they use it in Nigeria? Blessing, have you heard of Discord? Have you heard that one? It's a quite a popular site on the internet. Have you ever tried it?
Yes, I've used Discord before. So there was one leadership training I registered for. That was sometime last year. Was it September 2025? Yeah, last year. So we use Discord for the training and discussion because it's a practical leadership training where we have live sessions twice in a week, and the rest we discuss on Discord. So that was my first time of using Discord, and I must say I like how everything works. Both the futures, you can be teaching your teammates and be able to share your screen and join calls and do a lot of things on Discord. So I think I like it. Though I didn't use it that much, but the little I used it, I must say I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
very popular in Africa. I can tell you for sure, it's very popular in Africa. Must be very mobile friendly. A lot of people in Nigeria and Kenya love Discord on their phone. So
Mhm.
that's good. We got an alternative view there, Mike. So it's 1 in 8 of people. Well, 2 in 8. You and Blessing agreed that there is some merit there. That's pretty good. That's it's not bad. But yeah, I can tell you for sure, I'm never using it again. Never. But let's keep it moving. Let's have a bit of a chat about what other types of sites to use. School is $9 a month. I think that's a pretty reasonable price for what you get. It's a bit boxy, a bit boring for me. It's not glamorous, but it does the job. Does anyone else want to pick up on school, or do we want to move forward to say something like Circle or um, another one called Heartbeat, which is very good, but $40 a month. You know, $40 a month is a lot to run a free community if you're not getting paid. Has anyone tried Heartbeat .chat?
No,
Have you tried Circle, Jessica?
no, no. I've really the main platforms that I've been on are either just social network ones because I wasn't creating content necessarily. I was just sharing. And so my first time actually like creating and doing something where I'm creating something personally, putting it out there in the world was Substack.
Yeah, and I heard this recently that not a lot of people are forward facing. That's what she called it. You and many others are busy doing what you're doing. It
Yeah.
hasn't actually ever occurred to you to put content out to the world. You're mainly consuming it in
Hmm.
or internally, like on an internal system. Yeah,
Yep.
is that what
Or
main?
on like Facebook or Instagram where you're just doing short things. You're not going to do long form, and that's what I wanted was a chance to write more essays. Um because I wanted to think through ideas for when I'm in school and writing my dissertation. That's literally my main focus in being on Substack and writing, and having these conversations is just such a bonus in expanding my worldview in so many ways.
I think this is where I'm now starting to really push. I've got 500 subscribers on Substack and 1,000 followers. That's an ecosystem. I don't now have to go chasing people I don't know. I've
Hmm.
already got people here that I do know, and I can have a very wonderful full life chatting to people that I already know. Bloody brilliant. Uh,
Absolutely.
do you want to talk about Heartbeat, Jason? Have you got some insights into that? It's pretty good. I'll give you a couple of minutes. This is that sort of thinking time.
Sorry, apologies. I have not used Heartbeat. The we the, as I probably mentioned before, real quick, we started with Patreon, and then as it was great to start there because it was free. They take a chunk of your Patreon donations, and then as we grew, we reached to a point where the amount of money that Patreon was taking from us was quite significant. That's when we jumped to Circle. Circle, the plan we're on with Circle is quite a bit more than school. I think it's $200 a month, what I pay, but that is much, much, much less than what Patreon was taking when we were with Patreon. So for our scale, Circle worked great. There's cheaper plans than that at Circle, but I think it is a lot. The cheapest plan is still a lot more than $9 a month.
What inspired you to try Circle? Did you have a look around, or did that one just sort of jump out at you?
Um, yeah, like I was getting frustrated with a bunch of things with Patreon. The chunk it was taking from us was pretty significant. There was I felt very limited, and the feed of Patreon was very much like Twitter. So if I posted something, it was gone, right? If other people were commenting or I posted like 10 things. So if I had a really important post, it was hard for people to find it. I just felt it was like super disorganized, and like only the most up to date things could people enjoy, like our bonus content, right? Um, I know Patreon has gotten a lot better since we jump ship, but they also didn't have things like private live streams or groups, or you could have courses. And I just was frustrated one day, and I just did a Google search, and Circle is one of the things that came up. And after I took a look at it, it was pretty scary to ask our community, which to jump ship with us and leave for Circle. But we enticed them with a lower Patreon rates for the people that got in first. So whatever, like our top tier patrons were maybe supporting us at $50 a month. We said if you come with us over to Circle, we'll lock you in at like $30 a month for a year or something like that. So we were able to get all of our community members to jump ship off Patreon over to Circle. So,
It's
but
very,
I apologize if I'm railroading your question because I don't use Heartbeat, but maybe somebody else could explain it.
yeah. I love what you're saying there because Circle is possibly one of the most popular ones. Circle.so. I don't know what the SO stands for, but it's Circle.so. But it's also quite expensive relatively to the others. Like Circle, I think is its basic plan is $89, which would be about the same for you. But because you've got a very active community, you'd easily gobble that up. You'd easily gobble up that cost.
Oh yeah, like it works for us. The plan we're on right now is a tenth or an eighth of what we were giving away to Patreon because they were taking like 15 or 20% of every Patreon pledge. Like it was a lot that was adding up quickly.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like buying a car. You only need one car. That in itself is an interesting discussion. But you know, you only need one car, and once you decide on the car you've got it. It's there. You don't have to worry about it. But when you test drive all these different cars, then you're in this zone of, well, should I get a Mazda? Should I get a BMW? Should I get a Porsche? Should I step up and get a Jaguar, or do I just get a Hyundai because I'm just going to the shops? So, you know, Circle, for instance, is $89 a month. That's a big chunk of money if you're just starting, but it's not a big chunk of money if you've been doing it a while. Heartbeat, which does almost identical things, is $40 a month. Well, that's half. Right? If you're just starting, that's attractive, but it's still $40. Circle, School is $9. So you got $89, $40, $9. They all do very similar things. You've got to ask the question, how would you decide? That's why I do these shows. Does anyone have any experience of Heartbeat? It's a very good site. It's mainly designed for coaches and people that have a heart in their. Obviously, everyone's got a heartbeat, but I was going to say it's designed for everyone with a heartbeat. But it's designed for people that work from the heart. It's designed for coaches and maybe teachers. And Circle is designed for communities as well, but it's twice the price. And School speaks for itself. Have you thought of running?
Keith, I've used Heartbeat as a user, and you know, if you look at the pricing between Circle and Heartbeat, I would probably opt for Heartbeat starting out. Now, to your point, if you're already at the point where Jason is, and you can fund, you know, pretty much any software, Circle would probably be my choice. But you know, I think as entrepreneurs slash solopreneurs, you know, you have to scale with what you have. I have a gentleman. The one I'm using is by the gentleman that wrote the replacement for Go Brunch, called Ripley.
Yeah, let's have that discussion. I haven't heard you talking much about this. What do you think of it? How much is it, and what does it do?
I will guide people to the pricing because it really depends on the size. Very similar to, I think I'm paying 100 and something for. I have the ability to have I think it's one what they call a wave. That wave can have 5 rooms, but it's a little confusing because I can have a lot of scenes. It's really the restriction is really around the number of users you can have in a room. Um,
But
the
you can actually
difference,
upscale. Yeah.
yeah, oh
How do
yeah,
you spell it? How do you spell it?
Ripply,
Ripley. Okay.
Ripley.
I've never really talked about this much. We have many people in this room have used Go Brunch. I quite like it, but many people have moved past Go Brunch because it had some restrictions. Ripley. Let's if anyone's heard of it, please jump in. I haven't really tried it, but this is what it is. It's ripley.com. Is that how that goes, or has it got some
Yep.
funky
No,
little extension?
I think it's .com, but
Why do you love it? Tell us why you love it. Obviously, I've heard you talking about it. What's your thing? Why do you love it?
it's very similar. It's Go Brunch with none of the problems. Um, One of the things I liked about Go Brunch and I like about Ripley is, well, the creator is very community based. He makes that pretty clear in his in his landing page. Um, he has done things that Go Brunch should have done relative to like discovery. You can literally find out via discovery who is on basically. I mean, who has created what as far as what he calls waves, and then you can actually see who's on very quickly, very easily. Then Keith, it has the capability like so I can see a friend that's on, and then I can get into a either a room with him, or I can chat. I can DM with him. Um, uh, Usually, though, one of the things I'm using it for, Keith, is virtual coffees. So when I want to get to know someone better, I schedule via my calendar a meeting in that room, and I can share, oddly enough, my Suno library. So I have screen share, I have voice and video, and there are multiple chats. So I don't love the way they've done the what I call or what they call the community chat, but they do have a community chat. Um, that's a little confusing, but the rest of it is very, very intuitive.
Yes, I'm just there's a couple of things going on there. Jocelyn is listening in from Nevada. I think Nevada's still on time, but you're very welcome to join us, Jocelyn, if you want. Southern Nevada. So that's pretty cool. What we're actually talking about is Ripley as an alternative to school and heartbeat and circle. Now, let me just run you through the pricing from the room on it, whether anyone's heard of it or even got a need for it. The free version, and I'm very excited. I've got a free version. And banging, and I think you might be banging your laptop there, Nikki. So Ripley, which is very loosely based on Go Brunch, the free version allows for 5 people in a room, 1 community, 1 room, 3 scenes. Right? Okay, 5 people. Right. I can't see myself using that, but 5 people, I can get 10 people on Restream. I'm using Restream, but I'm paying for that. So for free, you get 5 people. For $25 a month, you get 25 people. Now that's probably not a bad price, I reckon. What do you get for $25? Why is Ripley say better than what we're doing here? Is it more immersive for those who've never heard of it?
Yes.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, thanks for that. Some of the people have got to go. Jessica, you got to go. Jason's got to go. I'll just give everyone a chance to say goodbye. Let's just honor what we've done here, Jessica. From a standing start and possibly given up, we've now created
Right.
maybe one of my best shows ever.
This was fantastic. Like all of a sudden, a time was flying by, and I'm like, oh, I need to go have dinner and spend my time with Justin. I really do try try to have that work-life balance as much as I can, and this is part of my life as well, and it's fun, but it's
Oh,
very easy to lose track of time.
I'll send you the transcript. And
Fantastic.
let's make another post about this. The power of global. Like
Oh,
we were
I would
featured
love
in
it.
Amory's article. It's the 6 degrees of Substack. We've just proved it today, haven't we?
Yes.
The 6 degrees of Substack.
It's very fun. Absolutely. Send it to me. We can both write articles and it will be so much fun.
Yeah.
Have a great show, Keith.
Very, very, very cool. So
bye, everybody.
Back to Ripley as a comparison to School and Circle and Heartbeat, $25 a month for 25 people. That's not bad. What do you get for that money? Do you think, Mike? What would make it worth upgrading to that? You probably have to see it, understand it. I'm guessing.
That's part of it. But you mentioned, Keith, you're comparing kind of apples and oranges if you're comparing Restream to Ripley, right? Ripley is a community platform. I mean, we can do limited community here, on the show, and then we can agree to, like you're doing and just did, about repurposing and so forth. But this is built around community, and like I said, one of the things that Go Brunch didn't do a great job of was letting people know what other people were doing as part of the platform. Um, and this friends function, it's critical for me in a community when Americo gets on. It's just like if he's on, or you are on. I think I get notified if you start a show in Substack. Well, that's critical because I need to know, what's going on in the community. If the same thing for school, it's important that I know that because if I want to start a DM live with Americo, I need to know that he's online. So that capability was built in really from the get go with Ripley. The ability to chat with your friend, not just in a room. Because like right now here, I have no capability that I know of to talk to you in Restream outside of this room. You see what I'm saying? And they're different use cases. I'm not trashing, but I love Restream, but it's not a community. In my you can kind of develop a small community. And by the way, Keith, I completely agree with you that if you're going to interact with a group of people, I think you have to artificially constrict that. Meaning, I don't think you can have reasonable discussion with probably more than 10, 12, 15, maybe. And kind of keep it tight, and to allow everyone reasonable amount of time, particularly if you're trying to meet an agenda or a time frame. If and But that's the other thing, Keith. On platforms like Ripley, I could literally, if I chose to, I could be on 24/7, 365. uh, Most people aren't going to want to do that, but that's what I talk about, this idea of being able to leave information behind, because then I can say, hey Keith, I missed you on the show last night. Let's schedule a virtual coffee, XX, or you schedule it on my calendar, which by the way I'm doing with someone on LinkedIn Thursday, uh, and I'm going to have a virtual coffee. So all of these are kind of use case driven in my opinion. That now one of the things that you can do, and it was kind of pre set up that way, is to set up I'm going to forget what they call it, but it's the ability to a breakout room. But you can have a breakout room, Keith, instead of having a different room, you can have a breakout, for lack of a better word, like a table, So I can create this room, in my case, with 25 people, and I can set it up that 4 people per group can talk amongst themselves, and the other people can't hear. So, I mean, you could absolutely use that for breakout sessions. It has screen sharing and camera, like presenter camera.
Mm.
So it's very similar in that respect to Go Brunch, but it's gone well beyond Go Brunch. And to your point, I think the biggest thing and the one thing I enjoy the most is that immersibility, because I've created certain rooms, like I have a drum circle room, and for guys to get together and talk, I actually used a Go Brunch one for that. And over time, you develop like this safety, this feeling of safety that this is a
Mm.
safe
Mm.
place. There's a psychology involved, Keith. I don't completely understand it, but there's a psychology involved in this immersiveness.
I love this discussion. Go Brunch is a very good site, and obviously Ripley takes it up a notch. I spent about a year there. It's a very cool site, and Ripley does it even better. Do you want to pick up on this, Americo? Did you ever use Go Brunch, and have you ever tried Ripley?
I have not tried Ripley, but I did get in on the Go Brunch scene. I had some rooms that I had created, and I'm pretty sure that today there would be a response that the technical glitches it experienced, let's say a year ago, has probably been addressed and taken care of. But my rooms, I don't know if it was an update on their end or what have you. All my rooms disappeared, and I had a horrible experience. I sat in what was a phantom room waiting for my guests to arrive, and they couldn't get in, and I started getting DM'd. I reached out to the founder and his support team to try to fix the issue, and I haven't used it since. So I'm a little sour about
Yeah.
that experience.
Well, this is what Go Brunch looks like. It's a very. I've got a couple of examples of this, and I'll try and find Mike's versions because he's very good. But you can see here that's very immersive. Like you can have 5 people sitting on stage talking like a panel, like we would do, instead of us being down the bottom, would be sitting in chairs. And then you can have up to 25 in this room, 25 people sitting in the audience. It's very immersive, like you're actually in an event. And I was actually able to set up at that time my Discord account, my LinkedIn account, and my email address. Right, very immersive. I get it. This was Go Brunch. Ripley would just take that up a notch, and as I said, $25 for 25 people. Not a bad price. That's pretty reasonable. But why don't we come back to school? And what do you love about school? Because you're pretty passionate about it. What does school give us that, say, Discord or Restream can't give us? What do you love about it for those people that don't use it yet? I think it's important we have this discussion.
So you touched on it earlier while I was listening on the road. Um, it has capacity for up to 10,000 guests. Now, that would be a nice problem to have if we had 10,000 people listening into our conversation. But it is there. There's no limits. You're not confronting a budgetary question when you get to 25 and you got to upgrade. It's already there. It's native in the platform. But similar to other community-based platforms, you have this learning management system where you can archive your lessons. You can create modules for your community, and then you can break them out into tiers as to who could have access to what content. You can put a paywall. You can gatekeep it. Um, you can have free modules, but only unlock after members reach a certain threshold of engagement to be able to unlock. You don't want to be able to give away everything the moment someone comes in, because you just don't know how invested that person is in your community. So it's got a lot of capability to control what comes in and what goes out. And it brings I would say, three verticals together. You can use it as a customer relationship management tool where you have onboarding questions. So as members come in, you get to ask them questions to help you understand what their objectives are for joining the community, and you can manage that accordingly. It builds you a contact list, and we all have opinions of email, but at least you know that those who are coming in and sharing an email have the same objective. You're not communicating or sending emails to this list where people will abandon you. They understand what's happening when they receive an email from you.
Yeah,
Because
this is a very good example of what you're talking about here. This is school. This is Americo's school community. The reason I'm saying this very heavily is that in the month of September, I am doing robust research into alternatives to what we're currently doing, because I feel in my bones that I'm growing. It's a nice feeling. I'm growing past Substack. I'm growing past Restream. So we're looking for things, and this is a very good example of how Americo does it. Like there's a leaderboard, and if I remove my all of the pictures, you can see that I was third in in the community. I had a gold medal across the board for about 2 days, but this is sort of what you're saying. Everyone goes up a notch. The more engagement, the more they're in, they get more goodies, don't they? And I'm on level 5 now. I think I'm actually on level 4, just on the verge of getting level 5. And why is that important, do you think?
Well, it's important because it helps you focus and prioritize who needs help and where to focus that help. So if I look at people who are in that first level, many of them are just there to lurk, to observe, just to consume the message, and may not have any intent on doing anything with it. They may be part of the community as a nice to have and less of a need to have. I'll get around to it when I get around to it. This sounds like something I might be interested in. Let me just join right now, and then when I find time, I'll come back and participate. Where someone who is further along in the journey and has engaged further, you can now reposition your value proposition, your conversations and celebrate those milestones. You've made it to level 4. Where do we go from here? Are you ready to host? Are you ready to speak? Would you like me to get you or find you a stage where you can speak? And so the conversations, you get to mold the conversations based on the members' progression.
Yeah, it does. Nikki left, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. In hindsight, I missed that one, but I think school, especially for the price, it has 2 price points: $9 and $99. It's a very attractive price point for those people that are just nudging forward. Like I get a bit of a sense that I might need to nudge forward, and I reckon $9 a month is a pretty good one. It has quite a lot of good features. Have you tried it, Lachelle? I haven't referred back to you there for a minute, but have you tried School? Have you heard of it? Many people in your community using it?
I have had people invite me to school communities, but in terms of posting my own, I have not. I personally enjoy Substack because I have a lot of my content and focus is on TV and actual streaming through those platforms. So Substack is a good place for me to really focus on the audience that I'm serving and to build that way. So that's kind of just been my thing. I appreciate how some of the content that I don't necessarily put on TV, I can have the option of putting it on Substack within my community. So I've just found that has been a very good supplement for me in terms of getting my building out my community.
This is actually a very good segue into Substack TV. Do you think that Substack will get to the point where you can put your shows on Substack, or are you putting? I want to hear this story. Where are you putting your content currently, and do you think Substack is ready to have it as well?
My content is on Zonda TV Network, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Roku just merged with Fox, so I believe that, that may open up some opportunities for more people that want to get on the streaming side in order to monetize. I think Substack would be a good candidate for that because they are very good about nurturing communities. And communities are important when it comes to distributing content. Most of the time in the past, we're familiar with, if you have a business or organization, location is the thing that you would focus on. Well, now that we're in the digital age, it's distribution, showing up in different platforms all over the place to have the appearance of being top of mind everywhere people are.
Bingo.
So I think Substack is really good at being able to cross pollinate and, even just their attachment with YouTube, how they upload long form content onto YouTube as well as short form. They may not really focus a lot on the SEO, but they do have something going for them. I do Google Alerts where, you have Google notify you for, industry things that you're focused on. I've always done it for my name and my business name. And since I've been on Substack, even just the few interviews and things that I've done, I get a Google alert at least once a week on either my name or my business or hashtag. So for me, it's working, with the things that I'm working to build. And I think it also goes back to, what is your intention? How are you feeding your digital footprint? Being very intentional about that because, you can be everywhere, but being everywhere is not a conversion because that's the key about distribution. I could be the most famous restaurant, but if people aren't hungry, that's not going to help me. So it's being present to where people know who you are, but also being engaged to where when people do have that pain point or need that problem solved, that you're right there for it. And sometimes people struggle with, yes, they could be everywhere, but they can't serve everybody, or they can serve whoever, but they're not everywhere. So really being able to get that little, um, have that balance and alignment with those two is very important.
Yeah. Do you want to pick up on this, Americo? You've got several people in your community that are focused here on live streaming TV. It's definitely a thing. Do you think Substack can be part of that discussion?
Well, you had me scratch my head. Is Substack TV something new or a question that we're hypothesizing here in?
No, it's definitely a thing. You can with the discussion we had a few weeks ago was that I can send this file to YouTube, and that people can watch the show on
Yes.
YouTube.
Okay.
Substack is now moving towards the idea that I think, is it an app? Do you know much about it, Mike? Do you want to pick up on this? Is it an app or is it an application or is it just hypothetical at this point?
No. It's an application. So you have a Substack application on, if you have a Google enabled, Android enabled TV, like I do. I have a smart TV that has, Google as its, basically its OS. And I can download apps all day long, and one of those apps, I have, to your point, I have YouTube as well. So I could either watch you on YouTube. Probably prefer to watch you on YouTube just because it's clunky generally, and you have that. I don't know. I'm still confused as to where Substack's going. But yes, there's an application that you can, add to your TV that can view Substack, including the
Awesome.
lives.
So it's just you add the next Netflix button, you add the Amazon Prime button, you add the Substack TV button.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then it just and if you're logged into Substack, it just plays Substack on your television.
Correct. Including the the lives like you would, normally on your PC.
And you could probably get an app and do that on your phone too, yeah?
I am assuming. Well, no, you can, because I have the Substack app.
This actually feeds back in what we were talking about yesterday, and pick up on this, Lachelle, if you want to. Lots and lots and lots of people, a disproportionate amount of people are doing shows on their phone in their bedroom. Now, that's not my thing at all, but apparently it's the thing. You can have up to 3, it fits perfectly into what we're talking about, Substack Studio and Substack Live. You can do a show on your phone in your bedroom. You can be on your own. You can have 1 guest or 2 guests. Maybe this is a thing, Mike. Maybe that's where people are going. Would you watch that?
See, part of the issue is the quality, Keith. Like YouTube. YouTube, I don't know what it is, and I don't have the paid version of YouTube. The paid version of YouTube may allow 1080p. But generally, the other thing, of course, is your home internet has to have reasonable bandwidth. So right now, probably I wouldn't be interested, but at some date, I mean, it really depends on like the usability. I have a mini keyboard as part of my TV. So I have to actually find that and start using it again. But it's Bluetooth enabled. And so would I use it potentially? Maybe. Not as it stands today. I don't think though.
Yeah, well, but they're clearly going that way, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, or Keith, it doesn't even have to be. I think you want it on as many platforms as you can get it. Like I probably wouldn't mind it on like a tablet.
Yeah,
Like
tablet.
an iPad or anyone else's tablets. Phone. I'm getting older, Keith. I'm not going to tell you how old. You've probably forgotten, but it's not as easy for me to read. Like Substack on. When I imbibe Substack or write Substack, I do it on my PC.
Yeah, I have to print things when I read. I can't stand reading from the screen. I have to print them. My wife calls me a boomer. I'm not technically a boomer, but she calls me a boomer because I print everything, and I've got a landline. But some of these things are still useful. But why this is important is that here we are doing these shows, and we don't know on what devices people are listening to them and where they're doing it from. And Restream is 1080p. So this exact format here might look all right on a television. It might be a bit blurry when you blow it up to the big size, but here's 4 people talking. And maybe people are interested in that because we know things that they possibly don't know. And if you link that with the ability to comment and be part of the discussion. Hello, Bill. I can see you're listening in from Madison, Wisconsin. How you doing? Now that's an interactive process. I can see this working. I can see myself watching these types of shows on my television. I don't have a keyboard that allows me to comment, but I remember during COVID, a guy, and I don't know if you know this site, but it's very, 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 very good. A muso mate of mine couldn't tour, so he did this gig from his music room, and he had 10,000 people on the screen. They all paid $20, right? And $20, and people were saying, "Hey, I'm calling in from Terrigal. I'm calling in from Tasmania. Can you play the Dolphin song, my favorite song on the 3rd album? Can you play the song? Yeah, yes, come into that." And he used a site called Ecamm, which is actually a Mac product. high definition 4K video on your TV, $10. Right, it was $10 to go, and it may have been 2,000 people. I don't know what it was, but he made the equivalent of a gigging tour in his music room. And people, there was thousands of comments. Well, this is my favorite song. Can't wait for the solo. Hey, I'm singing in my jammies. I'm having a great time. And all these comments were streaming down the page. That might be the future of content. It might be the future of content.
So remember when the future of television went to pay-per-view and people were paying just for what they wanted to watch, and before it used to be exclusive to sporting events, and then it turned into apps where people can pick and choose a la carte which group of channels they could watch. Well, it's no different for content. YouTube, I was doing some research on this whole analytics as to where people land, and YouTube published some interesting stats. Now, of course, I'm sure if we peel down the layers back, a lot of it is generational. You're going to see the younger generations, the alphas, maybe up to the millennials, even maybe not in the same quantity, the Gen Xers. But YouTube says that depending on the genre of the channel that you host on YouTube, 36 to 42% of total watch time is now being consumed on television. That's almost half.
Do you want to pick up on that, Lachelle? I'd love to hear your take on this. This is amazing. This is amazing to think that we're now moving into a sort of an engagement community content structure. This is exactly what you talk about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, back to the previous question around, filming in your bedroom, when you're clear on your message and the problem that you solve, who you're speaking to, sorry about the dog. He wants to be part of the conversation, apparently. But when you're clear on that, go get the door for Olivia. When you're clear on that, people don't care what you have going on. If you're giving them value, sometimes there's even that element of feeling like they are actually in the room with you. They are a part of whatever you're doing. That was like the craze with Instagram, how people had the ability to kind of see inside your world. And, we even still have that. However, a lot of times we get lost in the shuffle because we start chasing algorithms around this person. If they're doing music, they found a way to really communicate with their audience and engage them. Well, then everybody else is trying to do that. And maybe it's not even music, So I think there's this element of, we try to get the same engagement, but not really focus on what our message is. But when you're clear on your message, people are not caring, I know the things that I share with people regarding, not to have confidence about what it is that they're saying. They don't care what my earrings are that I have on, or if I'm even wearing them, what hairstyle. They are more concerned with the value that I'm bringing them in order for them to win. Now, that's just for me with my industry in terms of coaching and, providing assets, digital assets for people to use for themselves. But, maybe other industries that matters. But I feel like we lose a lot of opportunities to connect and engage with audiences because we're not authentically being ourselves or connecting with them right in the moment of whatever it is that they need. So if I'm getting on camera and I'm saying, hey, this is what happened today. I was on a live stream and the thing went black. Can you imagine that? What would you do? I mean, I could have a whole half an hour, 45-minute conversation around that because I could be picking up, the feelings of anxiety and all this and talking about perseverance. So I think when you are clear on your message, you can do whatever you want. And a lot of people don't feel empowered to do just that.
This picks up on what we talk about and what we're going to talk about in September. America, it's so true because I've often said, if you don't get the word out, how is anyone ever going to know what you do? And that's okay if you don't want to be known, but how is anyone ever going to find out what you do if you don't tell them? No one knows. Hardly anyone knows me. I live in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a million miles away from anything except people in Melbourne, Australia. So, I'm a long way away. People don't even know who I am. And how are they going to know unless I do these shows? So you do have to have a little bit of courage and chutzpah in a way. Is this what you're finding, Americo, that people, they want to get the word out, but they just won't do the work?
Yeah, that's part of um, I don't want to call it a problem, but I guess that's what it is. People get inside their own heads, or they set expectations that are not realistic. They think that, I'm going to give this a try. I'll try it once, and they try it once, and they don't realize that this is a long tail strategy. You can't just show up once and expect people to like, know, and trust you, to value you, to respect that what you say is true. You got to do this repeatedly over time. And to show up once and say, yeah, that didn't work, or to front load, you know what? I'll go live. I have no problem in going live, but I want people to pay to hear what I have to say. Well, people don't know you from Adam. Why are they going to pay when they can sign up for a workshop or a paid event where there are accredited, well-known speakers? So it's about understanding how to prioritize and where to prioritize, and realize that live streaming and podcasting is marketing as much as it is a tool. And if you just use it as a product and forget that it is marketing before it becomes a product, then you will be disappointed and you will give up, or you will be overwhelmed and never bring yourself to start because you're waiting for things to be perfect. And if those two worlds continue to live in your ecosystem, you'll continue to struggle to get through to the next level.
And what,
Well, I want to add something to that because I think, that is a good point about people not knowing you, but people are scammed every day.
Yes.
Okay. We don't know a lot of people and out of thousands of dollars. So I feel like if you are clear on the value that you bring, that is very persuasive to people. And a lot of times when we are focusing on a bigger number, we lose some of that because we are, it's kind of like they call it sales breath. When people feel that you're concerned about a transaction rather than a relationship. And so I think this is one of the keys to having small communities because people are invested in whatever it is that you're doing. It's only four of us on the screen. So if somebody wasn't saying anything, it would stand out over time, right? Because, there's that level of accountability. And I think a lot of times when it comes to building business, we want the big numbers, but we don't really understand the importance of connecting and engaging with people. And there are people that scam people out of thousands of dollars every day that people don't know, but they are clear on engaging them with the message and what it is that they understand that person needs in order for them to pay them money.
I just want to piggyback on what Michelle just said, both positive and negative. The positive, uh, you have to understand not just the value, but what problem you're solving. because in order, I could be passionate about music, but if I'm not solving, now it could be the problem I could be solving is boredom or entertainment, right? But I want to go further, and I'm passionate about going further. And that further is I want to offer bespoke tracks to family and family, like family events like birthdays and weddings and funerals. And there's absolutely a market. Now, you have to find that market, and you have to make yourself known in that market. But I 1,000% agree, Michelle, in that if you're focused on the transaction and not the value that you're bringing and not the problem that you're solving, you may make a few sales, you may even make a number of sales, but I don't think you're gonna have longevity because inevitably, word word gets around, and they're like, well, that Lachelle, in their case, you provide awesome value. That's the positive. The negative is what you just said, and unfortunately, it's known that scammers are very adept at creating urgency, about creating guilt, or this idea that unfortunately that our elderly have made a mistake and sent and in essence had received money that they didn't, or that a grandchild or nephew or niece has a financial need that they create this sense of urgency that makes the scam successful. And so that's the negative side of that, and they completely understand what the need that they're getting served by, and I think they understand the need that a grandparent has to be protective of their grandchildren, and that can be abused.
Well, and I think it's not just older people. I think about in my journey, I mean, how many
Oh yeah,
times I invested in stuff, that, you can make $1 million. I mean, they really can feed into the emotion. And, we just lose all logic. We just jump in, don't ask questions. I mean, I think about some of the dumbest mistakes that I made early in my career, and I just think it's not always a sugar. I mean, it's always not a cut and dry situation because it can be different phases of your business. I mean, now that we're going into AI and a lot of technical things, you may be a very seasoned business person, but because now that there's this component, it can be easy for someone to say, oh, yeah, AI is this, and I can do that. And, before you know, you've invested all this stuff you don't know anything about, right?
yep.
It's not even functional. So I think also we have to be careful about that, you know, making sure that you have a team of people around you, being able to educate you in the different aspects of business because, it's a never ever changing situation from technology to systems and processes. So I think that's important to remember as well.
Are you
Great.
there, Keith?
Oh yeah, I'm just contemplating what happened here. We started and several people in the this is the channel challenge of doing a show by yourself. I spend a lot of time in the DMs. We the first 10 minutes were just completely dead air and we could have lost the signal. But what I love about what we're doing here is that people from all over the world, and we proved this today, people from all over the world can call into this show. And I am so proud of that. I'm just so proud of what we're doing. What I might do though is I might sort of give everyone a chance to wrap up, and I want to talk about this event we're going to do in September, America. Not only because we might run out of room on Restream for 10 people, but also you have a community that actually wants to live stream. Well, so they say. So I can't help people with their nerves. That's not my skill. I do know people like that. Like I do have confidence coaches as friends, but that's not my skill. What we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about what tech is available to us for free and for a price to do these shows. If you're ready to push go, what can you do? School's one of them, $9. Substack's got a version that's free. Restream is $19 a month. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're also going to talk a lot about the various microphones that I've accumulated over my lifetime, which is quite a lot. And I'm going to demonstrate the difference between a dynamic mic and a condenser mic and why you would need a mixer as opposed to not having a mixer. There's only so many things you can do on your phone. I know a lot of people use their phone exclusively and they don't want tech, but as you go up the line, I think some tech is required. And I'd be interested to know what you think this show could be like. We just bashed it out yesterday. What do you think this show could be like? It's going to be a special edition to when it's going to be spring here, so I'm loosely calling it Spring into Social Audio. But for you, it will be Fall into Social Audio. Both of them work. What do you think this one might be about?
So the last two that we hosted, we went in with a clear understanding that it could be just the two of us talking, and that the replay is where people would show up. And in both cases, we had people show up and be part of the conversation. The difference we have, and by difference I mean the opportunity we have, is that we've given ourselves a little more runway here to build some momentum to drive more people to this event. Now, I'm also working on retooling my community offering, so I'm hoping that doesn't conflict, but we still have 155 free members who we can lean into. And if we have even a handful, as we've had in the past, show up, we end up having a fabulous conversation. But what I will do to drum up excitement is to talk about the agenda that you just laid out and raise awareness that, hey, this is going to be an exclusive school event, and we're going to bring you the basics, the foundational stuff. We're going to talk about sound. We're going to talk about, everything that you've pointed out, and this is going to help myself kind of have a solid understanding as to where people stand, and if whether or not I need to at some point consider, is there a time in which a community builder or a leader looks at his community and starts to call the herd? Like if someone doesn't show up after a year of signing up, are you doing yourself? What are you doing to yourself? Are you believing that person after a year is going to show up? Or do you kick them out? Send them a communication. Hey, you haven't been around for a year. We'd love to have you back for the time being. We're going to suspend your membership. If you'd like to come back, you can come back under new terms and agreement. And those new terms will probably be that $5 annual subscription just to get in.
Look, I like what you're doing here. There's a couple of things that we can talk about here, and this is why I'm quite interested in school. We are good mates, and I'm doing this for your community. And you can record this and put it in a library. And that library is available only to your school members. My Substack members can't go in there unless they join your school community. So we are going to create this exclusive content, which is very valuable. And if you go on the day, it's free. And if you join the community, it's in the library. Now, down the track, as the library grows, you could segment that library as you have here and said, okay, well, this library is only available to level 2 and above. And in order to get to level 2, you have to have had maybe 5 engagements in the last month and at least turn up to one show. So you don't really want to give all your best content to people that are not interested,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You want to say, look, this is not a cost thing. This is just an engagement thing. If you want to be part of it, just make a few comments, turn up occasionally, and be present. And if you're not present, you probably don't deserve it. You're not engaged. You don't deserve it. So I'm thinking that this content will be great at the time. I mean, I'm gonna basically get all my tools out of the cupboard, and I'm gonna try them sequentially, and which I'm very excited to do. And I know how they differ, and there's a slight tonal quality between the two, which I can tell. And people might be able to tell, and they go, "Well, geez, this is my most advanced topic, and this cost me $200. This one cost me $50. Can you tell? I can tell, but can you tell?" And this is why I paid the $200, because this $50 one isn't any good. In fact, I might even give one away if you pay the postage. So it has occurred to me, I've got a whole heap of things in the cupboard I could just give away because I don't use them. And that's valuable. But you don't really want to give all of your good stuff to everyone, because they don't appreciate it. They don't know what they don't know. And if they're not interested, you can't bang them over the head with it. If you're not interested, then just don't come. But don't expect me to reach out to you every day and ask you to come. So I think it's a real reckoning of your, if you've been going a year, it's a real reckoning of your community to say, we are going to go up a notch, but you have to be here with us. You have to play the game. You have to meet us halfway. Because you know what it's like, you and I both. We do these events, we plan it for a month, and no one comes. It's like a big kick in the guts, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you were to go into the leaderboard right now, you would see that I've removed all of those pieces of content from the classroom. I didn't remove them. I locked them away.
Oh, wow.
They're gone. And I gave four different modules to help people progress through the first four stages. And you still have the bulk of everyone still on level 1. They're engaging, they're coming in, they're reading, they're listening to what other people have to say, maybe listening to a replay. But now those replays, if you don't show up live, those replays are going to be moved into a premium tier. So if you show up live, you can participate, you're part of the conversation. But if you want to know what happened, if you want the skinny on it, you're going to have to level up.
I love this. And it looks like I've just gone in. Looks like Sean's up and running again. So
Yes.
I'm in the leaderboard now. Are you part of Americo's community, Mike? An active community, a member? Do you take part in this? What do you think of school? Is it not your thing? I'd be interested to know if you're doing it.
Do you not see me on that list?
I do, but I'm saying active.
Unfortunately, I was. To be honest, I've been trying to. I got to get America's live on my schedule because I keep on missing it.
Oh, okay.
And to be honest, I've been fighting, and I'll just be straight up. I've been fighting on LinkedIn, which I really need to back away from. I've been fighting the anti AI crowd, particularly around AI music, but in general too, because I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand what AI is capable of, how potentially to use it to their advantage, and what it doesn't do. I think America and I have kind of settled certainly on using it for content for image generation. And particularly anything, I don't think America and I are trying to fool anyone when we're creating a picture of the four of us on a desk. It's just a visual representation of this screen right here. In fact, I put in one of my pictures, I put it wasn't exactly like this, but I had, the 4 or 5 speakers, which by the way, you can't do on this was about Substack Studio. So I bent the reality a little bit there, but my whole point was we were talking about Substack Studio, and I made it look like we were in a studio together, a physical studio together. I don't think that's trying to fool or to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, and in fact, I think it's a legitimate. It helps people visualize what we're doing. Um, so I do need to back away. The bottom line is I need to back away from there's a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it trolling, because I think some of these people are um, they have a very
Have you heard the
strong
phrase nerd
what
Reich?
nerd what?
Nerd Reich?
I have not heard that.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So all these nerds, possibly Gen Z, are saying linked AI is inherently bad. Whatever you
Yep.
use it for, I'm against it. It doesn't matter what you do, I'm against it. These people may be 18 to 30. I'm just fundamentally against anything AI. I don't care what you do with it. I don't care what the use case is. It's just fundamentally bad for the planet and humanity, and I'm against it in every form. This is the nerd Reich. The nerd Reich. It's quite clever, isn't it?
They are. The other thing is that, and Keith, I'm actually torn because uh, the law is not settled on whether training is fair use or not.
Yeah, but I think
And
you're missing the point, Mike. Well, we're not talking about the use case. We're talking about the fundamental use of AI, the fundamental use of AI in all forms.
no,
There's,
but they're claiming that they use this word or throw it around a lot, Keith, theft. And that's very key. I mean, if I'm trying to be ethical and moral, I don't want to be a thief, or I don't want to participate, in that. I'm like, well, that hasn't been settled in the courts,
you don't
and I
believe it's
think
theft? You don't believe it's theft?
no, no, I think the long term, and it doesn't really matter. Long term, it's going to be settled one way or another, and
Okay, so
and that
the law will determine whether you think it's theft.
yes.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's a reasonable synopsis.
Well, in the United States, we have something called fair use, Keith, and like say I want to play a little bit of your show, and I forget what the particulars are. I can't take your whole show and put it on my YouTube channel. I can make a comment reel, or I can make a comment show about your show, but I can't show the whole show. This is already litigated in copyright and whatever law. But if I take bits and pieces and say, okay, Keith said this, and then I go on and have a 15-minute discussion about what Keith said, that becomes my content, and it's called fair use because I only used a piece of it, and then I made all these comments. So there is legal stuff already. So to be honest, I'm leaning towards having the model companies compensate, but then the music companies want to go all the way and say, no, we're going to own a piece of whatever output comes out of the model. I'm like, that now you've gone a bit too far. And now you have music companies that are basically signing agreements, like with Suno, BMG and Warner both have signed agreements, and God only knows what's going to happen.
But how do
So
we get from school to Suno? I mean, I asked the question, are you using school? And now we're talking about Suno again. How do we get here?
we were talking about my engagement.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to engage on Suno in America's School.
All right.
What do you think, America? What I've done here is we're doing a special edition on school, and I really fundamentally want to understand how people are using it. I think the thing that I love about it most is that for $9, I can have an upscaled version of what I'm doing here. And look, I can afford $9. And if I've got a community of people that are active, I'm happy to pay that. I'm happy to wear that. And someone round the track will this is actually happening to me on Substack. People are saying, mate, you've got expenses. What do you need? How much is your phone bill? Let me pay that for you. How much do you pay for gas just to keep yourself warm while you do these bloody brilliant shows? Let me pay your gas bill. This happens now. People are saying this. So people will come to my aid so that I'm not funding this myself. And I'm just going to trust that because I love doing it. And someone will find a way to compensate me for that $9. Do you use school at all? Michelle, would you be interested in being part of this, or is it just another thing to try?
Actually, at this time, I've been a part of people's school communities, not very active over there. But I just think, for where I'm at right now, I still have 9 kids at home. Okay. So it's just sometimes it can be overwhelming doing all of these different platforms that over time, I just know for me and my ROI, it just is not a good investment of my time.
This is actually
Yeah,
fundamentally why what I think too, that my big concern about school is that you have to be on school to come to this show, and that's a trigger, isn't it? That's an impediment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
friction.
we can do this one of two ways. We can broadcast it and promote it on school, but we can host it on YouTube.
Oh wow. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Right. So community members, all they have to do is get a link to the YouTube channel, and we now open the conversation to school community members and non-members, and that might be an opportunity to entice someone to want to be a member.
Yeah, and you can send a school show to YouTube.
Yes.
Whoa, I didn't know that. So
Well,
you could
it's
technically live stream from school.
I can live stream. All I do is I'll set up a show through Restream and set up an event in school, but rather than using the native school platform event link, I will embed the YouTube link.
Oh, I love that.
So we can take this offline and discuss how we want to proceed it, because that'll probably get us the most reach, because we can broadcast it outside of school and host both members and non-members.
I love this. I didn't know. There's actually quite a lot of discussion about internal versus external, but the idea, if we can actually use the school tech, because it can have that big number internally, but we can send it to YouTube, then we got the best of both worlds, haven't we?
Yeah, and let's test it.
Yeah, because I am aware that with school you have to be part of the school community to go to school events, and I know that pisses people off. But if they could watch it on YouTube, and everyone's heard of YouTube, everyone can get YouTube. This is good. I actually am very excited about that. That's worth trying.
Yeah, and then once the live is over, we'll make the YouTube video unlisted and embed it in the school community, so that only school community members will have access to the replay.
See the replay. Yeah, and that's the hook to join.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know you could do that. The thing that also you get a copy of the video, and you also get the transcript, don't you?
Yes.
Wow. I love this. I could do this. I do. I could do this all day. There's so, I mean, many people say, oh, there's so many sites to try. And I say, guess what? There's so many sites to try. I think it's a good thing, because I love trying things. But then again, I don't have kids, and we paid off the house. So I live an hour from the city and I never go. I mean, so I've got plenty of time. So I'm looking for things to do. I'm looking for things to try. If Mayono knocked on the door and said, mate, here's the whole range, just knock yourself out, that'd be like Christmas for me. Okay, there's the 100, there's the 200, there's the 500. We're going to do a show on all of them. You watch me. That's what I want. I want people to knock on the door and give me things. The things I want. This is good. So, look, maybe that comment about AI turned Mike away. I mean, you can get a bit bogged down in the AI discussion, can't you? Because it's very it's very visceral. People are very for or and against. What's your take on AI, Lachelle? You've got kids of all ages. We're now finding that Gen Z hate it. They just have a moral objection to the concept. Are you noticing this in your community, that people hate AI with a passion?
Yeah, I think one of the things is the fear of change is one. And, I know for myself, I'm just over, you learn something, then something else comes out. And you learn something, something else comes out. I am passionate about learning. But I think, again, this is where we have to be really clear on what our goals, our intentions are. Because, even though there could be new things that come out, it may not be in alignment with your goals. You may be planting in a certain garden and you leave that garden to go somewhere else, and you never reap a harvest because you don't go through the full process. And so I think we have to be very careful around, if we're building something, really understanding, okay, why am I moving to this other format or this other platform? How is this going to help me with my original vision
Bingo.
of what it
Right.
is that I was working on?
That is so good. Like, there's this very famous story of a person who just keeps digging holes. Okay, I'm looking for something. I'll try it for 1 hour. No, it's not there. No, I'll try this. And then he looks back 1 year later and he's got 365 1 meter holes. He didn't stick with it. He didn't invest. He got nothing because he was too impatient. Whereas the other person who might have dug one hole and says, actually, this is okay. I've been here a week. It's not working. I trust myself. I'm going to go to the second hole. But he stuck with it for a week. And then there's another person that says, okay, I'm just going to stick here. And I'm going to just dig this hole for 365 days. And it's a very good analogy for how we view the world. It's not working. Give it up. There's another little shiny object. Let's try that one. Oh, that'll work. No, I'm sick of that. Let's try this. We all know people that do this. We've all done it ourselves. And the garden is a very good analogy. You've got a garden, stick with it. It's your garden. Work it. Fertilize it. Let it sit for a week. Come back to it. Nurture it. That's a very good analogy, isn't it, Lachelle?
Absolutely. Because again, we have so much information, but we don't have wisdom about the information. Everybody wants it tomorrow. And when you're not wise enough to know that there's a process for everything, you're going to fall for every good sales pitch around being able to have something tomorrow because you don't really know what goes into it. So I think, this is why it's important to be mindful of the company that you keep and, at least going to 3 different sources, right? If someone is telling you something, go to 2 other sources before you make a decision because you just have to, because I mean, we can get all in the moment. That's just the whole thing about marketing. I got my degree in marketing. I know how it works. I still fall for stuff, even though I know better, right? So I think it's important to, really have certain parameters for yourself. Hey, I do that now. If we want to buy something new, we get 3 estimates before we just go out here trying to just buy the first thing we see, and it makes you wiser to think about, well, what questions am I going to ask? When you start really thinking about that, it really gets, you really get clarity around what you're looking for and what you need to ask within a sales presentation to even know if it's a good fit for you.
I love it. Well, we've been going 3 hours. I reckon that's a really good spot up. My wife made risotto last night, so I got some really lovely dinner to lunch to look forward to. What we're going to do here is I'm going to salvage this one. I've got to go back and change the first 10 minutes. I might let it sit for an hour or so because it was pretty funny. I'm going to get the transcript and I'm going to get all of the goodies if you want to. But next week is the wrap up, the going deeper, and then the going global. And then in September, I'm having September off. I'm going to try all these brand new tools invisibly, and I'll report back in October. And the first one of those is our show on school, which I've started a little thread for on School America. So let's see how that goes. The engagement there is actually quite bad, isn't it? I'm quite embarrassed about this. It's quite bad, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing: when you compare it to engagement on social media platforms, it actually performs better. The optics may appear to resemble bad engagement, but when social media is engaging at an average of 2 to 3%,
Oh, okay, percentages, yeah.
right? When you're looking at percentages, and you got a 10,000 follower count and only 2% engagement. Well, I got 155 members and 51% engagement. So if you're playing the percentages, I'll take 51% over 2% any day. But yes, that 51% is typically driven by a handful of community members. So you can massage the numbers all you want. The reality is we'd all love to see improved engagement.
Yeah, I love it. So look, what I love, I actually quite like this leaderboard. It gets me excited. At the moment, I'm number 1 for 30 days. This is not the current one. I'm not even in the top 10 for the 7 days because I haven't engaged. And I'm second, a silver medal for all time. So if I get 2 more likes or whatever that is, hits, I get to be a gold medalist of all time until someone else beats me. And then I haven't even, I'm not even on the leaderboard for 7 days because I haven't done anything for 7 days. But I am 7 points away from level 5. So that gets me, that's the way I get motivated. I juice up that way. It's very, very, very cool that I'm 7 steps away from being camera ready. I thought that's going to be a cool one because no one else is there. We can even change that title because no one else is doing it. Because I'm not camera ready. I hate video. But and I'm never doing it. Don't ask me. I'm never doing it. It's my life. I'm retired. I can do what I want. So I'm never going to be camera ready. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not scared. I just don't want to. So that's pretty interesting. But so I've started a private chat there. And I think indeed Mike was very, very angry that we mentioned that Aussies think that AI is theft and the Gen Zs hate it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Gen Zs because I'm thinking out loud here and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you look at, I'm going to share some stats here from Canada. Youth unemployment is sitting currently at 17%. So we have our youth who are getting educated, going into their academic years, coming out with an exorbitant amount of debt for those who haven't got generational wealth to pay for their education. They're coming out with degrees and no jobs because the entry-level positions have been replaced by AI. The Gen Xers who have been laid off, like myself and like many others, we're in a better position where we can, despite being retrenched, we can make do if we've managed our lives and our finances accordingly. We have a nest egg that we can survive until something comes around. We're also the generation who engineered AI So now there's a hate for the developers who are a generation ahead of the Gen Xers. So I can totally see why they might hate it, because now they're clawing just to be part of society. They want to contribute, but the tech is moving so rapidly that by the time they get to a certain threshold, all right, I think I got a leg up. I have an opportunity. That opportunity is squandered because tech has deemed it redundant and AI has once again replaced it. So that's me thinking out loud.
You've got a couple of Gen Z kids, I'm guessing, Lachelle. What do they think of it?
Everybody is kind of mixed emotions. I think it's all in the marketing. I'm telling you. They may hate it today, and tomorrow they have the right sales pitch, and it's making the most sense. So I think you know it's just a toss up, depending on what the mood they're in. Overall, I think we really all struggle with change, um, and nobody really has a handle on it. Um, so I just think it's something that we just can't be afraid of. I've gone to classes over it, and just so that I am relevant in even the language and understanding it, because it doesn't matter. It's here, and it's been around for some time. We're using a lot of AI that we weren't really necessarily aware of, and so now that it's more prominent, um, now everyone's kind of scared, but it's like, it's really infiltrating now because it's been used for so long. So I think it's something that we definitely shouldn't be afraid of. If you do have some mixed emotions about it, do your research. I think that's the thing. We follow too much around the crowd instead of really figuring out, how is this going to work for me? If I'm afraid for the industry I'm in, what should I be doing? There's so many ways that we can still be proactive about it, and, change your circle, because I'm telling you, it's coming. And, I think you have to have um, a broad amount of different people in your circle, on your team, that can help you stay grounded and not fearful about things that are coming on the horizon.
Yeah, I think you're right. We've actually chatted not about the ethics of AI, but what would happen if we all just stopped doing it? We'd fall so far behind, because there are people that will do it, whether it's ethical or not, and we have to compete with them. It's a very big story to tell, and you're right. We have to embrace it, and it's a matter of how much we embrace it. I don't mind it. I know Mike thinks that it's okay to write songs with AI. Aussies don't agree, and there's copyright laws in process right here now, and there's been court cases in Germany about this. And I know this makes Mike very angry, but it is the law, and the law is not on his side. But that'll all settle out over time. So what I'll do is we'll end it there. I reckon 3 hours in, pretty good. I'd love you to come to the school event in September if you want, and also go to some of the events next week. So what I'll do is I'll end it there. I'm going to go and get some lunch and cool down after some backlash from the AI discussion from Mike in the back channel. And I might just have a bit of a walk around the block and a cup of tea, I think. So I'll see you guys later.